Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is xoxoxo Tarot, and in today's very highly requested pick a card reading, we are going to be looking at the single people today and seeing who is coming towards you next in your love life. So I'm really excited to do this reading today, and I figured I would go ahead and break down what is going to be in the free reading and what is going to be in the extended in case you're curious. So we're first going to be using oracle cards to look at who this person is and get any details about them. And then once we have gotten that figured out, we're going to go ahead and go into the tarot, and we're going to see why this person is coming in next, how you're attracting them, or what is drawing you two towards each other. And then we're going to see how you can show yourself love now and how you can help yourself feel more loved and more nurtured. And then we are going to look at any illusions you have around love that are maybe preventing you from seeing things clearly, or that are maybe stopping you from opening your heart and trusting in the universe. And then we are going to finish off with some very good advice, given the readings I've done already. It's been very much needed advice. And then if you are satisfied with that and want to check out the extended, the ones I have filmed have been very juicy. We are going to be looking at what this person does or will find attractive about you, and also why they are drawn to you, what energetically makes them feel drawn to you. We're going to be getting lots of details about that and just kind of seeing, like what this person sees in you and what they find attractive about you. Then we are going to see what their intentions towards you are and kind of go in depth into what you can kind of expect from them and what you should know about this person coming in. And then we're going to get channeled messages from their higher self and their human 3D self. So their higher self is kind of the part of them that is more aligned with the light, that is not corrupted by ego or by distortions of the mind. And then we're going to see what their 3D self would say to you, whether they know you or not, so that we can kind of see where they're at and how aligned they may be with their self at this time. And then we're going to finish off with getting charms, letters, and numbers to see if there are any synchronicities that you should be aware of, any signs that you should be aware of, and if there's any messages in the charms that could relate to this connection, or any signs or symbols that would be synchronicities related to this connection. So that is all of that. So let's go ahead and get into the 4 piles that we have today. Starting with pile 1, we have the Moon Void Tarot, as well as this Rose Quartz Heart. And then for pile 2, we have the Totally Unofficial Adventure Time Tarot deck, as well as this blue Calcite Heart. And then for pile 3, we have the Mystical Medleys Tarot, as well as this Carnelian Heart. And finally, for pile 4, we have the Way of the Panda Tarot, as well as this Serpentine Heart. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It is absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. If you get a pile that sounds like yourself, it is probably because you are hearing the pile about yourself. Feel free to listen to that if you want to. It is possible you could be attracting someone very similar to you, so don't rule that out. But if it sounds exactly like you, and you don't want to hear about yourself, try a different pile, because you are likely getting the pile that is about yourself. And certainly if you have multiple people coming in, or you're talking to multiple people, feel free to pick more than one. There's no right or wrongs here. Whatever you are drawn to, feel free to check it out and see how it resonates with you. But the most important thing is to take what resonates for you and not let the rest take from you. So once you've picked your pile or piles, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the comment section, where I will have the timestamps listed below. I will also have the links to the extended in case you want to check that out hopefully after. But once you've picked your pile or piles and you find your timestamp, go ahead and find that. I'm so bad at finishing these, but I will see you in your reading. Hi there, pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Rose Quartz Heart and the Moon Void Tarot, this is going to be your reading on who is coming next into your life. So I am going to put the tarot off to the side, because first we have to see who this is. Now, I do want to say, if you get yourself, you are quite likely going to be getting a reading about yourself. So if you don't want that, I would choose a different pile. And if you do get a person that you're like, I don't know why I'm aligning with this person, or I don't know why this person is coming in, stick around because we are going to be looking at why you're aligning with that person. So if that's not something that you want, then you can see how maybe to alter that or what to shift or change. But like I said, I make no promises, whether new or old. I just gotta read what the cards say, and it's quite likely that because it is a general reading, some of you will know this person, some of you may not. So just take what resonates, leave the rest in the wind, and chill out and let's have fun together. Okay, so to start with who this is, we have Alethea. We have Yin Yang, or Yin Yang. We have the Star. And finally, we have the Butterfly. So this is really awesome energy. I'm not gonna lie. Whether you know this person or not, if you've known them in the past, they're definitely coming towards you in a new form, in a much different form than you have seen them in the past. And for others, this is definitely somebody new, but somebody that really resonates with the person that you are becoming. And in fact, if you have been on quite a healing journey and a journey of finding yourself, finding your truth, finding balance, this person has been too, and that is something that you both are going to really resonate with and connect with for one another. So starting with the Alethea card, this is really beautiful because this goes to show that the person coming in for you is somebody who is recognizing what their truth actually is and learning how to live from that truth. Now, the truth isn't necessarily about the truth isn't about quotes like facts don't care about your feelings. The truth is something much deeper than quote unquote facts or numbers or botched statistics or any, not this. Let me not get in a thing. Point of what I'm trying to say is that the truth is deeper than something the mind can conceive. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. And because of that, it's very hard to find a deeply meaningful truth if we're just looking on the surface of things and looking for things that bring us fulfillment through our ego or fulfillment to our mind rather than fulfillment to our heart and soul. And so I think for this person, they have been going through honestly, I'm hearing the word arduous journey of learning how to let go of the mind so that they can be open to what their heart and soul is trying to tell them. And as a result, they are becoming not only a person that they're proud of, but they're recognizing that they can forgive themselves for their past. So maybe for some of you, I just heard the quote, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. So for those of you who may meet this person, you may be really surprised about who they used to be or what their past was like. And for people where you know this person, if they are coming towards you and you know them, they're coming towards you in a way that you've never truly seen them before. They have gone through a sort of transformation that honestly has freed them from a lot of illusions that kept them held down and kept them stuck behaving in ways that weren't in alignment with who they truly were. And so whether they're new or not, definitely every person that this reading is about has gone through that process. And I think one of the most beautiful things about this person is that they have a new sense of hope and a new sense of where they're going, where they want to be. I definitely feel as well, they have really been kind of humbled by the universe in a way where they realize how if they get swept up in the ideas of the masses and kind of like herd mentality, they realize the dangers of that because they may lose themselves in the process. And so this person definitely is learning how to not beat themselves up for their past and recognizing that that past version of themselves has gotten them to where they are now. But I think the most beautiful thing is that their mind has gone through such an amazing transformation where they see life in a whole new way. And I think the biggest thing is that they have such a deeper appreciation for the small things in life, especially like what they find nourishment and satisfaction from is not what they would have in the past. I feel like this person has gotten a lot closer to nature, a lot closer to themselves. For some of you, they don't have, for some, this person definitely has a spiritual element to them, but for others, I would say they're likely more just kind of like recognizing themselves as a student of life and trying to learn about themselves, learn about their life, and through that process, I think just becoming closer to themselves, that's their spirituality. So for some of you, I'd say their spirituality is more overt than others. But the biggest thing here is that this person is learning to be balanced, which is an incredibly difficult thing, but also an incredibly beautiful thing when it's achieved. They could be a life path 22. February 2nd could be significant. The biggest thing that I'm seeing here is air signs could be significant: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, especially Aquarius with the star here. I intended for this card to kind of represent their inner world, so they could have like an Aquarius moon or something like that, but they certainly don't have to be. Just take it as extra confirmation. But like the Aletheia card gives me very Libra vibes as well. The beautiful thing here, though, is that this person is learning how to balance their energy, and they are learning how to express both their divine feminine and divine masculine energy, because we have both of those energies within us. And I think that they are learning especially the wisdom of their inner feminine energy, where they are recognizing that their intuition has a lot to bring to the table, and that their heart has a lot of wisdom to teach them that maybe their mind once ignored. And I feel like now that they are listening to their heart, they are listening to their intuition and listening to themselves in a way where they're no longer trapped by a lot of the illusions of the mind that they once were before. Like where they may have projected assumptions onto people in the past, they look at that now and think, okay, where's that projection actually coming from? What within me is even projecting that? Like, this is someone who's becoming very self-aware in a way that's not harmful towards themselves. Rather than beating themselves up for something that they discover within, they are learning how to hold compassion for themselves and hold compassion for others as well, because I think that they're fully recognizing that people can only meet them as much as they meet themselves, and vice versa. And so now I feel like they have a lot more wisdom about when to take action and when to not, when to put their heart on their sleeve and when to maybe not share things with others. I feel like they've just come through a transformation that may have been particularly challenging and difficult, and rather than becoming jaded or frustrated about the world, even if they were at some point, they don't have that viewpoint anymore. It's like they're finally leaving their mental cocoon and seeing that they were a butterfly all along. They were never the caterpillar that they thought they were. And I think that they're having just a lot of appreciation for the process. And this person might actually have a unique connection to angels, or they could have like a biblical name, or like a name connected with angels, like for example Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Ariel, something like that. But like I said, they don't have to. I see the letter A could be very significant, as well as the letter Y or the letter B. So if any of those letters would be in their name, that could be a hint as well. But I think the biggest thing is that they have hope, especially hope when it comes to love and when it comes to genuine human connection. I think that this person may have been very jaded before and looked at life from a place of life isn't fair and it's a dog-eat-dog world, and you gotta do what you need to do in order to get what you want. And I think that this person is realizing that that's not actually the truth, and that in fact, when they let go of that mentality, they started to actually be able to kind of let God in terms of like whatever they view as God. So whether that's like their spirit guides or life itself, the universe, whatever their interpretation is, they are learning to be open to themselves and recognize their own divinity and see the divinity within all beings, no matter where they're at in their journey or what they have done. So I definitely think that this is a person that will be rather intuitive, and I feel like they are going to be very honest and upfront with you, or at the very least, if they're not overt about what they're about or who they truly are, I feel like they're an open book in terms of questions. So like whatever questions you ask them, they're definitely going to be open to hearing about that. I also think that just the fact that there's wings here on both of these cards, it makes me wonder if this person likes flying or could do something with aviation for some of you. But I feel like more than anything, they're just recognizing that they're not trapped and they have a lot of hope for their future. And for some of you, this person could be working on something that is more future oriented. And maybe they're just having more faith in themselves and their dreams than they once did before. And the thing that I love about this person is like, they're not claiming to be some wholly enlightened being that knows more than the average human. They recognize the human within themselves, and they recognize where their own maybe shadows and wounds lie. So this is someone who, you know, if you got in an argument with them or a disagreement with them, they're not going to project onto you and pin blame onto you. You know, they're going to want to work through things in a more calm and rational way, where they're like, okay, they want to get to the bottom of things. And I feel like there's someone who, through this transformation, has seen that a lot of what meets the eye isn't actually the truth. And that a lot of times the truth is something much deeper, and it's something that sometimes even the person saying or doing something doesn't even recognize. I think that this person is just recognizing, like, the more that they know and learn and discover about themselves, the less that they know. And as a result, they come into things with a very open mind and an open heart. And I think that this is definitely someone where, if you don't know them yet, they are going to be like a blessing in your life, and you're going to be so grateful that they came into your life. And if you do know who they are, for some of you, you might be quite shocked at this transformation that they've had. But for others, you may feel like, wow, like, it might just give you like hope in the idea that people can grow and change. But if someone from your past comes forward and they're not acting like this is not that person. So don't get it twisted. But I think the biggest thing is that they are someone who also is very good at matching energy, and they will give back what you put in as well. But I also think that they like someone who can mirror their energy as well. So like, you know, if you're someone that likes that matching energy, I definitely think that this is someone that will give that back to you. And I also think that this is someone with a lot of capability of having like deep, very heartfelt conversations. And I think that might be something that you and this person will really bond over, is like, you know, having these in-depth heart-to-hearts. And I think as well, you know, they are finding beauty through their story and through their transformation. And I think that they want someone to share their life with, or, you know, go on this journey of life with, that also has the capabilities of looking at themselves and having hope and not being stuck in a cynical mindset and things like that. I feel like this person, while maybe not necessarily an optimist, is someone who's like an optimistic realist, where they're like, they always have hope and always have optimism, but they're also not like so focused on optimism that they don't look at what's directly in front of them and don't look at how reality works, in the sense of like, they're not off like in their own fantasy world thinking about how they wish things could be. They're recognizing how things are, and then having optimistic hope in terms of how things can be improved, and how things can always change, and how we can always grow, and things like that. Overall, I feel like this is a very grounded, down-to-earth type of person that is learning to balance all aspects of themselves. And I think that they are incredibly intelligent, but not to the detriment of ignoring what truly matters to them anymore. So overall, this is a very great person, and I definitely think you will see that too. So I'm going to go ahead now and start shuffling the tarot. And I quickly wanted to mention that if this reading resonates and you want to check out the extended, that will be linked below. We are going to be looking at why this person is drawn to you, so like why they're attracted to you. And then we're also going to be looking at their intentions towards you and their intentions towards the connection. We're also going to get channeled messages from their higher self and their human physical self, so we can look at the difference between kind of what their higher self would say to you and what their conscious human self would say to you. And we're going to finish off with charms and letters, so we can look at any signs or synchronicities around this person, and also look at any potential timing, birth dates, things like that for extra confirmation. So if you're interested in that, that will be linked down below. But if not, I am just grateful you are here. So thank you for that. So we're going to go ahead and start by looking at why you and this person are aligning with one another. So Spirit, why is pile 1 and this person aligning with one another? Oh, this is beautiful. We have the Eight of Wands. So I definitely think the reason why you and this person are aligning with one another is that you're learning to let go of your mind. And instead of thinking, you're doing. And I have to throw my 4th grade teacher under the bus for a second, not only because she traumatized me, but also, I don't mean, a lot of things traumatized me. You know, she was human, I get it, like, no beef, no hate. But she did have this, she had beef against Nike and would all the time be like, don't just do it. Think about what you're doing, which in retrospect, I'm sure that was useful advice for 4th graders who probably did a lot of dumb things. But that's not always true. And sometimes we can get too caught up in what we're thinking about doing and what we are, to the point where we don't take action at all. And a word that was actually flowing through my head originally was inspired action. And so with this Eight of Wands, I feel like the reason why you and this person aligning is, one, there's going to be a lot of attraction between the two of you. And I feel like you're already naturally aligning with one another. And I love that these wands, or in this case roses, are flowing through these roses. So roses in of themselves could be a sign or symbol that this person is near, or that you are manifesting this person. You also picked rose quartz, so that is helpful as well. But I feel like you are taking action towards what makes you happy. And I also feel like you may be getting more energy for life, more energy towards what lights you up and what you enjoy doing. And I feel like the fact that you're taking more action towards your truth and this person is taking more action towards their truth is helping you both come together and align. I also feel like you are both learning how to not take action from a place of mindless productivity or the feeling like you have to be taking action, otherwise you're doing something wrong. That is kind of an example of distorted masculine energy, the idea that we have to be constantly doing something, we have to be productive, we have to be doing this, we have to be doing that, to the detriment of our rest, to the detriment of our nourishment, to the detriment of our well-being. And inspired action is more like, if you were a surfer, for example, rather than, sitting out in the ocean and paddling to shore and putting in all that effort, sitting and waiting for the right wave to come so that it gracefully carries you there, and you get a lot more, you cover a lot more distance than you would if you were just paddling in the water, like, a silly guy not waiting for the wave. So I definitely feel like one reason why you two are aligning is because you're learning to trust your inner guidance, especially when it comes to when it's time to rest, when it's time to be nourished, and when it's time to take action and go for something. If you don't know this person, or even if you do, it's quite likely that you could run into them or meet them when you, on a whim, decide to go and try a new class, or go to this restaurant, or go out and do something that you feel called to do, even if it's just going for a walk. No matter what it is, like even the examples I'm putting, like if one of you has inspired action to reach out to one another, or if one of you has inspired action to download a dating app or something like that, I feel like however you both are meant to align, it's going to happen, or realign, it's going to happen because you are following your inner guidance and you're not doubting it, you're not overthinking it, you get the impulse and you do it. You don't just think about what you're doing, you just do it. Like, be Nike, listen to Nike, don't listen to my 4th grade teacher, okay? You don't need to think about it. And I think that's the thing. If you can really relate to kind of working on your mindset, I think that is something that you and this person will really bond over. But if your mindset has been your biggest challenge to getting more aligned with the life that you want, and finding a person that you feel really close to, or finding the love that you want, I think that Spirit is saying this is the goal that you want to be looking at. Taking inspired action rather than taking chaotic action that leaves you more exhausted and uncertain and drained. So this is kind of about learning how to train your mind to quiet down so that you can listen to what your heart and soul is telling you. And I hear all the time, but I can't do that. I can't get my mind to slow down. And it's like, yes, it's not something that happens immediately. It's something that takes time and energy, and learning to quiet your mind is a process. It's the same thing as like running a 5K. Like if you don't run, you're not going to be able to just, go out and run a 5K and feel great and do your best. You got to build up to things. And so the point of what I'm trying to say is that if you are stuck in your head about this whole situation, you're getting further from what you're actually wanting. If you want to get closer to this situation, you have to start thinking, you have to stop thinking so much about how it's going to happen and waste so much energy on doubt and, things that just don't serve you. Because, oftentimes I feel like too, when I first started like trying to learn how to deal with my mindset, I thought like, well, that takes so much time and energy, like thinking about affirmations, redirecting my mind, changing things to positive things. But then I immediately was like, Madison, like how much time and energy do you spend worrying and wasting your thoughts and energy on negativity, on things that you are afraid will manifest? Like that's not serving you either. So if you're looking at it as like, well, that will take so much energy, you'll be shocked at how the more you shift your mindset and work on bringing it to a place of stillness, even for just like 5 minutes a day, it will help you so much. And recognize how so often our minds run away from us and we're not even aware of how much fear that they can create within us. So the biggest thing for you is to just start trusting yourself more. Start trusting your impulses more. Start trusting the fact that the universe does have your back, and all of the hard work that you have been doing is leading to a meeting or a reunion with this person. And it's not something you have to think about. It's not something you have to plan. If you're strategizing, you're already doing it wrong. It's not something to strategize. It's something to trust. It's something to feel, and it's something to follow based on impulse, knowing that the impulse will come when it's time. If you're thinking, oh, is the impulse here? Is the impulse here? Is the impulse here? No, it's not there, because you'll know it when you feel it, point blank. And I think with this person, you'll know it when you feel it. And it's not something that you can think or try to understand. It's just something that you feel, and when it happens, you'll get it. Like, and also I think too, the trajectory of these wands/roses is also upward. So I think that one thing to recognize is that taking action that makes you feel worse, that makes you feel tired, that makes you feel drained, during your time to be able to have power over what decisions you can make, is going to get you further away from that as well. So I think in terms of what you could strategize or think logically about, I think the only things to do there is to recognize, when it comes to your free time that you do have power over controlling, what are you doing with that time? Are you making decisions that align with the person that you're becoming, or are you making decisions that align with the person that you were and don't make you feel very good? Becoming aware of that and becoming of where your power lies will help you a lot in terms of taking inspired action. And also, for some of you, with peace and love, you need to learn how to rest. And sometimes if you're not a person who knows how to rest can be discipline, can be a discipline in of itself. And rest isn't always just about like sleeping. Mental rest is a big one, where like, instead of scrolling on social media for 2 hours, consuming like a book, for example, or something that's slower, or literally just sitting and staring at a wall is more productive than that. And just allowing your mind to daydream, that's more productive rest than scrolling through social media. Because, for example, all of that is just, it's so much coming at your mind at once that you don't really have time to process things. And you're just like, it's essentially like feeding your brain candy all the time and like nothing else. It tastes good, it's sweet, but it's not really nourishing. So if there are topics, subjects, especially if you're someone who likes to keep their mind busy, if you could find hobbies or something that keeps your hands and brain busy, like for example, like crocheting or something like that, where if you're a more tactile person, just finding solutions that work for you. I'm not going to be able to list and name all of the solutions. I'm not going to be able to show all of that for you. A lot of what this is about taking power into your own hands around what you can control and recognizing what habits in your life already are not serving you, so that you can replace them with habits that fulfill the person that you're becoming. This is not about beating yourself up or getting frustrated at yourself for doing something wrong. If you do scroll on social media for 2 hours, don't beat yourself up for it. We all do it. It's literally designed to keep you hooked and be addicted to it, all right? So there's no reason to beat yourself up about it, but recognizing where you can do better and how you can implement solutions to remind yourself, like, Whether that's setting reminders every 30 minutes to say, hey, go take a walk, or hey, go read a book, stop looking at your phone, whatever it may be. It's just being easier on yourself and just becoming aware of what works and what doesn't. And instead of placing a value judgment on that, just recognizing, okay, I want to keep doing things that make me feel good, and I'll just keep continuing to let go of what's not working for me. So now I want to look at how you can show yourself love now, which is kind of already going into what I was saying earlier, but how can pile 1 show themselves love, Spirit? Yep, we have the 7 of Swords. So this is all about recognizing how you sabotage yourself mentally and how your mind becomes your own worst enemy at times. I'm hearing that song by Gucci Mane that's like, I'm my best friend and I'm my worst enemy. And I feel like your mind is your own worst enemy sometimes. And the one thing that you need to realize is that your mind is not meant to control you. Your mind is meant to serve you, and serve you in terms of helping you create the life that you truly want to live. And sometimes we don't realize how mean our mind can be to us, or how our mind can distort things and create illusions that aren't even there. In fact, a lot of things that mainstream society says and talks about are just straight up illusions that are not true. I'm not going to list examples, because when I do that, people start trying. You can't argue heart truths with the mind. You just can't. Unless you can feel your connection to your heart, you can't understand that love that the universe has for you. And you can't understand how, when you sit in that place, the illusions and the shitty things that the mind says, it holds no weight or meaning anymore. And so the best way you can show love to yourself is recognize how your mind sabotages yourself, and to find help if you can't mitigate that on your own. Especially like if you need someone to help you work through your mindset and help you work through how you have been operating, there's no shame or stress in that. But if you are someone who puts so much pressure on yourself to always be doing things on your own or not ask for help, that's an excellent way of how you are shooting yourself in the foot and creating more stress for yourself. Inspired action would be, okay, clearly I'm not getting out of these mental struggles on my own. I need help with this, whether it's just talking to someone who has a more positive mindset than you do, or finding counseling or something like that can help you. It doesn't matter. There's no shame in needing help. But the thing is that the biggest thing that is hurting you right now is the deception that your mind creates. Deceptions like you will never find love. Deceptions like you're not worthy of love. Deceptions that are negative self-talk. Deceptions around how impossible it will be to find the right person. Deceptions that, there's no, depending on who you're into, there's no such thing as good people. There's no such thing as this or that. Like, there are so many toxic narratives right now around dating and around what should be. And the heart doesn't care about any of that, and there is a lot of ego assumptions around dating as well. And so I think the more you can look into what things you've been telling yourself that create fear within you, the easier it will be to recognize what isn't serving you. You don't have to accept things as truth that make you afraid. Like, for example, I can't find love because there's no one good out there. That's a damn lie. And then that's just keeping you stuck in an illusion that's not keeping you open to what could be. And I love too that her sunglasses in this are in pentacles. So I think one thing as well is that if you don't believe in yourself or believe in the universe's ability to bring you love, that's going to be a huge hindrance. And it's crazy how we can feel our heart believing, but our mind still is running a mile a minute saying, you're not good enough, you're not going to get this, you're not going to get that. And it's just a damn lie. Like, you really need to stand up to your brain and be like, listen, bitch, you serve me, not the other way around. Like, we're gonna fix this shit because it's not working. If it's not working for you, you do have the power to change it. It may not be immediately. It may take lots of time. You may need someone else to help you. But the idea that you can't change, or that you won't be able to fix yourself, or that things won't be able to get better, that is an illusion keeping you trapped. So what you want to look at is, what kind of brain boot camp you need to go through to start trusting your heart and learning how to listen to it so that your mind stops getting in the way of your own happiness. And I'm not saying happiness in terms of finding someone to love. I'm saying happiness in terms of just being able to find satisfaction in the present. Maybe not happiness, but satisfaction. You know, happiness is a fleeting emotion like anything else. But learning to find peace with where things are and learning to be present with what is will make it a lot easier to listen when that inspired action comes. So speaking of illusions, I want to see one illusion around love that you do have that you need to let go of. So for pile 1, what illusion around love do they need to let go of, Spirit? Justice. Okay. I actually want to get a clarifier for that. Clarify that for me? Okay. So I definitely think that this illusion around love is a lot about recognizing, for some of you, you might be worried about like karma, or thinking that if you've done bad in your past, or if you haven't done things right, that you're not going to get what you want. I feel like, once again, this is a lot about healing your mindset, especially with the 4 of Swords here. But I also think that you may be really unfair to yourself and really devalue yourself and your own sense of worth. And I feel like with this 4 of Swords here, you might value what the mind says more than the heart. And that may be one problem that's stopping you from truly believing in love. It's hard to believe in love if you can't feel it. And I don't mean necessarily for yourself, but I mean one big shift that I've gone through recently is just learning how to open my heart so I can feel the universe's love for me, so that I can feel the divine's love for me. And that love nourishes me in a way that helps me give it to other people and give it to myself. Even if I may not feel that way every day, it's a practice of learning how to balance out, you know, your heart and your mind's energy. And I think for you, the illusion that you have, I think, is that you're not deserving of something that is balanced with you. There's so much about balance in these cards. And I really think for you, there's a lot of fear around that you won't get what you want, or that you won't get what you deserve, or that things won't end in a just way. I feel like you worry that things aren't for you, or that you'll never find the right thing, or that nobody will ever want to commit to you. And Spirit's really saying, whoa. That's not the truth. That's what you're telling yourself, and you're creating more fear around opening yourself up. And I love that with this 4 of Swords, there's like this heart-shaped tub, because I almost feel like you need to spend more time with your emotions and spend more time with what your emotions are telling you, because there may be things from your past that you haven't truly looked at or healed yet, or at the very least acknowledged enough to recognize how they manifest in your present life. And that may be stopping you from trusting what the universe is trying to bring you. I also think that you may fear that karma is like this system of punishment, which it's not. Karma in of itself is a lot more about like cause and I don't want to go into a whole thing about karma, but if you look at karma as a punishment, or look at the divine from a place of fear, or the universe from a place of fear, you are missing out so much on the loving words that it has for you, the loving encouragement that it has for you, the synchronicities that it has for you. And I also think as well, you might have an illusion around what love is supposed to look like and how it's supposed to manifest and unfold. So for example, if the person that I talked about, you know this person, or you knew this person in the past, and you really feel in your heart it's them, you know, your mind might be going a million miles a minute, being like, no, there's no way, it could be them, it could never be that. And that's a way in which your unhealed mind is not listening to what your heart might be telling you. Now, if that person comes back in and they're not in a balanced place, they're not self-aware, they aren't kind, they aren't the person I'm describing, then your mind would be correct in that sense. And that would tell you, okay, it's clearly not this person, but that doesn't mean that this person isn't out there. The biggest thing to recognize here is that it is important to balance our mind and our heart, but I don't think you have balance within your heart. I think that your mind runs the show and greatly ignores your heart. And your heart has a lot of wisdom. So if there is someone in your heart, whether you know them or not, and you feel them, you need to learn to trust that and heal your mindset enough to be able to follow what your heart tells you. Even if it doesn't turn out the way you thought it would, your heart knows where to go. Your heart knows the next steps. And I think the biggest thing that you need to recognize here is that if you waste your time worrying about what might not happen, or how things should or shouldn't unfold, or that you're not good enough and the divine's going to give you something that you're not happy about, I feel like you really need to heal your mindset around your sense of worth and around what you are worthy of, and to recognize how your mind lies to you constantly and devalues yourself. With this card, I feel like one illusion that you need to let go of is the idea that you're always going to get the short end of the stick, that you're always going to be disappointed with the outcome, that you're always going to be the one that doesn't get what they want. You're always going to be the one that suffers or something like that. What you need to recognize is that the divine wants to help you, but they can only help you as much as you help yourself. So if you are trying to navigate in the world and your mind is literally telling you, oh, you can't do it, or you won't find them, it's not going to happen, that is going to really deter you from being hopeful, open-minded, and being able to listen to the inspired action when it comes. The illusion that you need to let go of is that the divine is always going to give you the short end of the stick, and that they're not going to be looking out for you. It's through healing the mind that you can recognize that while your mind is important, your heart is too. And when those are balanced, you can trust the impulses of your heart without making reckless, mindless decisions. You know what I mean? So this is about recognizing that while balance is important, trusting that even if things don't turn out the way you pictured them, they'll turn out better than you imagined when you follow divine inspiration, because that is exactly what the divine plan is all about, and what everyone's divine plan is about. It's about trusting ourselves and trusting what the divine has for us, even if we don't understand it, even if we don't recognize it at the time. And I think the biggest thing with this wreath here is to recognize that you will have victory. You will have balance. This whole situation is so balanced. So especially this person. So the more you find balance within yourself, the sooner I think you will be able to attract this person into your life or back into your life. And I think the biggest thing that you need to know is that you are so worthy of healing and so worthy of recognizing how wonderful you are and how you deserve love. Sorry, I was burping. And I just feel like the one thing that you need to know is that if you have this illusion that, yeah, the divine blesses everyone except me, you're wrong. And that's a massive illusion that you need to let go of. The divine knows you more intimately than you know yourself. And if you don't believe in the divine, the universe knows you more intimately than you know yourself. And the more you are open to its guidance and the inspired action it gives you, the more you'll realize they always had your back this whole time, and that you are worthy of beautiful, beautiful love that will make you feel loved, that will uplift you, that will make you feel cherished, and vice versa. You deserve the love that you give other people. And if you are giving that to other people without giving it to yourself, that is an excellent example of how an imbalance is creating lack, doubt, and fear within your mind and within your life. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to guidance now, and see what advice. You guys actually got a lot of guidance cards, so let's see what advice the universe has for you. So starting with an ego card, we have, I forgive myself for taking myself more seriously than is helpful to me. I choose to believe that when I allow myself to lighten up, my entire being becomes illuminated with intuitive wisdom that aligns me with my highest potential. Yeah, so this is you recognizing that your mind is trying to control the situation. Your mind is trying to control things, strategize, figure everything out, and that's not helping you. I think one of the best things that you can do is, first of all, consume things that make you laugh and learn to laugh more. Or if that's not something that brings you joy, learning to recognize how not everything is as serious as we make it to be. Especially if you're online a lot, being online, a lot of online stuff is kind of notorious for making things more serious or more stressful or more important than it actually is helpful. If you've heard the phrase touch grass, I feel like recognizing where you might be taking yourself too seriously or being hard on yourself will help you let go of those mindsets and become lighter like this butterfly. You know what I mean? A butterfly can't fly if it's chained down by fears or literal change. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But the point is, you need to let go of control and trust the universe has your divine course already in the divine GPS and knows exactly where you're going, and it will help you get there the more you learn how to trust it. You know, you should trust the divine's GPS more than any human one. And we know how shitty our GPSs are. They like tell you where the turn is after you passed it and stuff like that. Learning how to trust your own internal GPS, your own internal truths, and trust what your heart is telling you, no matter what that is. Even if it seems insane, even if your mind is trying to talk you out of it, as long as you're not hurting yourself or others, you know, learning to trust that and follow that guidance will lead you to places that you couldn't have never imagined, and leading you to people that you could have never imagined. Well, let's see what else. Remember that you have the free will to create or be anything that you want to be. You can either use this for your benefit or your detriment. The world is your oyster and the possibilities are limitless. Spread your wings and fly. Yeah, wings are very significant here, and I think that this person is learning this as well. So that will definitely be something that you bond over. And so if you're feeling like, oh, I never know how I'm going to get balanced or anything like that, like you're already wasting your energy being overwhelmed by what you think you can't do. So instead of doing that, be like, okay, where can I start just right now being a little bit more balanced? Maybe that's going to sleep so that you can wake up with a refreshed mind. Sleep deprivation is a huge thing. If you're constantly sleep deprived, you can't make decisions from a place of, like, you're just not operating at your best capacity. Like, you're not looking at things as well as you could if you had 8 hours of sleep. Like, even just balancing things in terms of like your physicality is a huge. But we also have, ooh, I love this. Okay, so this is the heart chakra, and the energy is renewing, and the subject is forgiveness. The trigger statement is, I did not deserve this, and the true statement is, I forgive. Allow the labels of judgment to disappear. See the situations and individuals through your heart. Forgive yourself. So that was a big thing I was saying about this person, is that they're not beating themselves up for their past anymore. They're recognizing that they were doing the best they could at the time they could. And for you, I think this is a lot about forgiving yourself and forgiving the things that you mistakenly believed about yourself, and learning to have compassion for the person that you are, and especially for the person that you were, like you as a child and things like that. Inner child healing is huge. Just recognizing that you are so deserving of love, especially towards yourself, and being open to the love that life can bring you, and to recognize that even if you lose yourself for a little bit, that doesn't mean that you can't come back to yourself more aligned and aware than you would have been anyway if you hadn't gone on that little shitty detour. You know what I mean? So stop judging yourself and start being open to just the unlimited possibilities that exist for all of us. But we also have my own energy. I love being there for friends and family while staying true to myself. I don't let others' energy or mood affect my own. To help a friend in a hole, I don't need to jump in the hole with them. Simply reach out a hand. It's up to them to do the rest. And I feel like this is the divine as well, you know? If you have people in your ear saying, oh, love isn't real, or you have to do things this way, or you won't get it, or you won't do this, or that, that's just endless mind chatter, and it's not serving you. If it doesn't feel right in your heart, if it doesn't sit right in your heart, you don't have to take it. And also, you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And so if you've been doing that, especially if you have been doing that to like trying to help others to the point of neglecting yourself, that's an excellent example of imbalance that's keeping you stuck in a state where you can't use your energy to focus on yourself first. So recognize that, you know, you can reach out a hand, but let them do the rest. And I think as well, you know, just recognizing where it is just so important to forge a connection with your heart. So if you don't listen to your heart at all, that is a process of learning. It's a discipline you have to learn itself. And the more you do that, the easier it will be to listen to what your heart is trying to tell you, what your body is trying to tell you, because your body has so much wisdom for you. You just have to listen to it. And we also have expansive. Every day I am learning new things and expanding into my highest potential. Yes, literally. This is it. This is all about expanding and not beating yourself up in the process. You know, you're doing everything. Like, you're doing amazing, sweetie. Be kind to yourself. But we're going to finish off with these 2 surrender cards. So to start, we have surrender your need to always be right. Give the gift of letting Give the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. That's funny because it's coming down from forgiveness. Like, you ask yourself if one thing as well, if maybe you've been pushing off the opportunity to love yourself more, or push off the opportunity to live in love because you almost want to be right about a self-fulfilling prophecy of that love doesn't exist and that you will never get it. Call yourself out. And we also have surrender the idea you can fix someone. It's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. And that's the thing as well. Like, if you've been spending a lot of time and energy trying to help someone else, or trying to, you know, make them better or something like that, you know, that's a place of where you're wasting your own energy, because it's up to them to do that as well. And I would say there, you know, if you've been thinking of someone who maybe is a romantic interest that just doesn't seem to want to help themselves, or doesn't want to take accountability or responsibility for their own healing, that's not going to be the person that brings you closer to love. That's not going to be someone that is able to hold love with you. Even if you feel deeply in your heart that they're the one for you, that's an excellent example of letting someone go so that they can learn that for themselves. And if they return and have that changed mindset, then you'll know that in your heart what was meant to be. But like, this is even not about being right, but about being open to what the universe can bring us, because we might literally block our blessings because we're stubbornly focused on one outcome or one way of being, and that's just not useful or beneficial to us. So especially if you are trying to help other people to the detriment of your own nourishment, health, happiness, that's definitely one thing to let go of. So pile 1, I'm going to go ahead and move things over to the extended now. If you want to join me there, please feel free. Cannot promise I won't burp more though, but if you are leaving me here, thank you guys so much for watching. And thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, another really simple way to support me is to like the video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Those are all super helpful. You can also check out my social media, though do be aware that there are tons of scammers pretending to be me. So just know I do not offer personal readings. I will not slide into your DMs asking you to pay for a reading. That's not me. And I also have merch link down below, but that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read your cards. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the blue calcite heart and the totally unofficial Adventure Time tarot deck, this is going to be a reading on who is coming next in your love life. So to start, we're going to go ahead and see who this person is. Now, if this person sounds like yourself, I would say go ahead and pick another pile, unless you do want to hear about yourself. It could be someone that's very much like you, but you may just be getting the pile about yourself. And that's all I have to say about that. So to go ahead and start, we actually have 2 of these oracle cards, and we have the River and the Offering. We also have the Temple Path. We have the Page of Swords, which is represented as the rabbit in this deck. And we have the Bat. So we have air energy to start off. So this person could have Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius placements. For some reason, I wanted to say Cancer, so they could have Cancer placements as well, even though that's a water sign, not an air sign, but they certainly don't have to. The biggest thing that I'm seeing about this person is that they are definitely someone who really hasn't taken their life very seriously. For the vast majority of it. I feel like when this person is coming into your life, or if you happen to already know who this person is back into your life, don't want to rule out any possibilities. That was another thing I wanted to say, is that this might be someone new for you. This might be someone that you already know. It just depends on your life. It is a general reading, so take how it resonates. But this is definitely someone who I feel like has had kind of a rude awakening recently, and as a result, they're kind of just recognizing that their ways need to change. The fact that we have the Temple Path here really goes to show that this person is, I feel like they could have gotten a slice of humble pie from the universe recently, where maybe they realized that their priorities were lying in not the right places. And I don't mean when it comes to like romance. I actually mean it more so when it comes to taking their life seriously. I think that they were maybe very flippant about things. I feel like they didn't really take things too seriously. And I think that they were just kind of someone who drifted through life only focused on the next exciting thing. In fact, I think that this person is actually kind of emotionally unaware. And I think that whatever happened to them recently is something that kind of made them realize that they have really been lacking in the emotions department, even when it comes to themselves. Now, one of the nice things that I like about this person is the fact that they do have a pretty light spirit and they're very lighthearted. I definitely think that they're a bit of a jokester and someone who does like to have a lot of fun, but I do think that does come at times at the detriment of them taking things seriously, and that's likely something that has kind of caused them to shoot themselves in the foot in the past with other people, especially if they've dated people in the past. Like maybe their past partners were really frustrated with them because they didn't take things seriously, and they were just kind of a bit emotionally immature and emotionally inept. And I think now they're recognizing that that way of being is not, one, it's not okay, and I think that they're realizing that they could have hurt people because of their behavior and their lack of awareness around their emotional ineptitude. And I think now there's this realization that they need to take themselves in life more seriously, because if they don't, they could lead themselves into another situation that apparently seems to be kind of traumatic for them. Now, I feel like where you come into play is that I think that you have a softness to you and also a lightness to you that this person is really going to like. But I also think that you likely have more wisdom than they do. You could be older than them, but if anything, I think that you're just more mature than them mentally and emotionally. And I do think that this person sees you as someone that could have a lot of wisdom for them to learn from, and I think that they really respect your perspective. With the Bat card being here, I really feel like this person is trying to let go of the past, and specifically their past. I think that they are trying to, I just heard the words become an honest man. Not that this person has to be a man, it's just like what I just heard in my head. I feel like they're trying to become someone that they're actually proud of. And I think the thing is that in their past, it was very easy for them to run from their behavior and run from the person that they were because they didn't really take things too seriously. And I think that they had some sort of wake-up call where they saw how people saw them. And it's quite possible that maybe they had an emotional experience with someone that treated them the way that they had treated others. And they realized, oh wow, this doesn't feel good. And oh wow, I think I've treated other people that way. And I think that they're recognizing that they need to change and things need to change. So with the River card being here, I definitely think that they're on a path of learning to right their wrongs. Whether that is through like literally reaching out to people and apologizing, or just living their life in a way that is more aligned with the person that they're becoming. I definitely think that they're going to see value within you, and I feel like they are going to want to make you some kind of offer, where it's almost like you two are going to meet each other, and this person is going to almost see you and your connection as an opportunity to do things the right way. Now, I feel like one of the things that you should be aware of about this person is that they are honest to a T. So if you're dealing with someone that's manipulative or lies, it's not this person. This person is not going to manipulate you, which they may have been that type of person in the past. And if so, they will straight up tell you that. I feel like this person is someone who has recognized where they would I feel like they were the type of person to not outright lie, but to bend the truth, and to be that kind of person that's like, well, I didn't say, like, they're the type of person where someone would be like, oh, you lied to me, and they would be like, no, I didn't, I only said this, I didn't necessarily mean that. Like, this is someone who would get you on semantics and frustrating stuff, and I think they recognize that. Like, that's they could have actually gotten into a lot of trouble about this. And maybe this person did get into some kind of major trouble that made them realize they need to change their ways, because the way that they're living their life, they've realized, is not in alignment with who they want to be. And I think that they did have some sort of realization of, oh wow, this is the person I've become. I feel like they woke up one day and realized they were an adult and they had been living like a child for a very long time. And now they're like, I need to get my act together, and I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna try. And so I feel like, if I'm being honest, some of you might like brush this person off or not be very interested in them. I can almost see this person giving you an offer multiple times. I think they're going to see something in you that really draws them to you and that they feel really like compelled by. And I think they're going to hope that by just being really honest with you and being really upfront with who they've been and who they're trying to be, that you will take that and at least give them a chance. I feel like this is something where this person is fully understanding if someone is going to shut them down or not be interested in them, but I feel like they are going to at least plead their case and ask for a chance. I feel like they are trying to grow and improve. And with this 12 card being here, it kind of makes me think of Pisces energy. And I feel like they're just kind of learning that there's so much more to life than what's on the surface. And for you, you might be like, yeah, like no shit. But for this person, it's like they're seeing a whole new world that they weren't aware of because there were so many distractions on the surface. And there was just so much to be focused on there that they didn't even think about the fact that things could be so much deeper and so much more meaningful. And so I think that they feel like they could experience something really meaningful with you. And truthfully, I feel like this person is going to be very upfront with you, especially when it comes to like what they're looking for and what they're capable of giving. If they're not ready for a relationship, they're going to tell you that. If they're only looking for something casual, they're going to tell you that. Like, this is someone that's going to be super upfront. If they're unsure of what they want and they're open for more, they're going to tell you that. This is someone who is honest to a T, to the point where they might actually hurt people's feelings without realizing it. I think that's something that they're becoming aware of as well. But I feel like they still need help with that. Like, this is someone like, I think that they're actually very, very bright and intelligent, but it's almost like they're a bit of an educated idiot in certain ways, where they're almost like so smart that they're a little bit like socially inept, or they don't read social cues very well, or they just don't realize how their words impact people emotionally. They're learning to gain emotional maturity. And as a result, sometimes they still need things like spelled out for them and explained to them. So like, they're not going to do very well with someone who can't really communicate very well. This is an excellent communicator. And so if you're wanting someone that can have really endearing conversations, really funny conversations, and they're having the capabilities of starting to have deep conversations, which I think is new for them, but they're finding that really exciting. I definitely feel like this is someone that is maybe not what you expected, but could actually turn out to be someone that shows you a lot about just a different way of being in life that you find that you actually are very compatible with. If you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know, I feel like you probably will be kind of uncertain about this person and kind of like, but I feel like this person is just asking you to give them a chance. And if they don't live up to what they tell you, or if they don't follow through, like, they're completely like, okay, I get it, like, I'm clearly not ready for this. I think that this person is becoming radically honest about themselves, and I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is that sometimes they can be so honest that they don't realize when they're like hurting someone's feelings. So this is definitely someone that you want to be very upfront with. Like, if they say something that hurts you, they need to know that. They need to that explained to them and like said like, hey, listen, when you said XYZ, that was really painful because ABC, and I don't know if you meant it that way. I don't think that this person is intentionally malicious. I think they're just so honest sometimes that they don't realize how what they're saying could be painful to the recipient. And I think that that's really something that they're trying to learn. They want to learn that. They want to understand other people more. And I feel like that's very new for them, because they typically were someone more self-centered. They were just focused on, you know, what they were excited about and what they were interested in. And so this is someone who is very forgiving as well. Like if you can be really honest with yourself and say, you know, like maybe for example, you're someone who's like very emotional and sometimes doesn't recognize how maybe you hurt other people when you're in a heightened state of emotional reactivity. This is definitely like two opposites kind of attracting a little bit, where it's like you both could really teach a lot to each other. Not saying that you're that way, but I just, for some of you, that could be a potential thing. I feel like this person is really trying to turn a new leaf and not only become a better person, but live life with more meaning. I really feel like this temple path is kind of displaying that this person may not have any spiritual tendencies or be spiritual from the get-go, but I do think the path that they're on is leading them to a more authentic way of being. I also think though that they are someone who's very fun. They could be quite energetic and really enjoy like physical activity or traveling, hiking, things like that. I also feel like with the river, I feel like there's someone who, there's still limits to their ability to be more emotionally vulnerable, but they're getting there and they're learning. And if you think about the fact that every river leads to an ocean, I think that they are in the process of learning and discovering their emotions. In fact, I feel like you may be like the second or third person that they've ever had deep emotional feelings for, or even just had feelings for in general. Because I do think that this person has had feelings for like one person in the past, and that person kind of gave them a taste of their own medicine. And I think now they're like, okay, it's very important for me to be a person that is accountable, to be a person that can be upfront. And I think that this person is definitely going to express interest in you. I feel like they're definitely coming towards you. And I think one thing that I really like about this person is that they're very curious. And if they don't understand something, they're going to ask questions. I think they're going to be really interested in you, and they're going to be very inquisitive about you and your life. It might actually come off a little weird, especially depending on when and where you meet this person. Like, for example, if you're working or something like that, this person might be like harping on you while you're at work, like asking you a bunch of questions. Sorry, I'm burping. Or they might offer you something multiple times because like they don't want to take no for an answer. Like, obviously not in a way that's like boundary violating. I feel like this person is just not going to give up until like you're like, dude, like if you don't stop talking to me, I'm gonna call the cops or something like that. I feel like this is someone who really just wants you to give them a chance, but they're also gonna be someone who understands if like you don't want to give them that. But I do think that they really admire the person that you are and will just be very curious about your perspective and see a lot of beautiful things within you. And I also think that they're starting to develop a little bit of intuition about emotions. Like, I feel like this is someone who's learning to be more emotionally intuitive, because that doesn't come naturally to them. But I feel like a bat, like, you know, they've like, I don't know a lot about animals, but like, I don't know, bats have like sonar or some shit. Like, it's almost like they're starting to develop like their emotional sonar, where like you could be having an emotion and they actually pick up on it and they're like, wow, oh my gosh, I intuited something, I picked something up. And like, they'll definitely need you to confirm or deny that, but it's almost like, it's kind of endearing, because it's like, this person is not claiming to be perfect. This person is not even claiming to be great. They're just wanting to be honest with you about how they're feeling. I feel like they're definitely going to be very attracted to you, and they want to be given a chance. They want to, at the very least, you know, show you what they can offer you and at least try, because I feel like they are going to see a lot of value in you and a lot of value in the connection that you have. And I feel like they want to learn, they want to evolve, they want to grow and mature. And I think a lot of those qualities they see within you, and they want to, you know, explore the connection between the two of you. I also think the 12th of a month could be significant. And I also think that this is someone, they could be a student or someone who's just very curious in a lot of different topics. They could also have like really unique niche interests that they know like tons about. So they're definitely someone who's very unique, and I feel like they're just hoping that you don't write them off immediately, because sometimes they can be like a little bit awkward or a little bit uncertain, or they don't always read like certain social cues, but they are very, like, there's an endearing spirit to them where like they want to grow, they want to improve, and they want to get to know you. So I feel like their biggest thing is that they're hoping that you give them that chance, and you at the very least like let them get to know you and let you get to know them. So I'm gonna go ahead and start shuffling your tarot now, and I quickly wanted to mention that if this reading resonates and you are interested in going deeper, there will be an extended, where in the extended we are going to be looking at why they are attracted and drawn to you. We're going to go really in depth into that, and then we are going to see what their intentions towards you are. And then we are going to get channeled messages from their higher self and then also their human self to kind of see the difference and what their higher self wants you to know. And then we are going to finish off with charms and letters and numbers so that we can get, you know, some kind of hints of what this person's name might be, what their initials might be, and also any signs or synchronicities that could help you know if it's them or lead you to them. So in terms of what we're going to be asking here, though, this is not an easy deck to shuffle. We're going to start by seeing why you're attracting this person or why this person is coming into your life. Another thing is that, I don't know why I didn't pick up on this earlier, but they're definitely very adventurous. And I think that they could also help you get out of your shell in a lot of different ways, especially if you are more shy. I feel like there's someone who, even if they can be a bit awkward at times, I feel like they're not afraid to put themselves out there, and they're not afraid to embarrass themselves either. That's why they can like ask you, like make you multiple offers without giving up, because they're not afraid to be rejected. They're not afraid of stuff like that. In fact, I think no matter what this person has been through, they can work through an impressive amount of trauma with very little like mental and with very little like there's someone who can move on really easily and let go of things really easily and just be open to what is and what could be. They don't dwell in the past very much, which I think is really cool. But Spirit, why is pile 2 and this person being drawn to one another? What is attracting them into each other's life? Okay, so we have the Fool. I really love this. So I definitely think the first thing, that's so funny because Ice King is kind of awkward. I definitely think he's going to be better than Ice King. But I definitely think that the reason why you and this person are being drawn to one another is it's something new. It's something different. Even if you know this person, I would say it's quite unlikely you've ever been in a connection with them. Maybe like this is someone that you've known and like they've always kind of been right in front of your face, but you've never realized, like you've never really given much thought to it. I feel like the biggest reason why you and this person are being drawn to one another is I think you both are putting a lot of emphasis on letting go of the past, letting go of what has been, and being open to what was. And I also feel like you both are ready to take a leap of faith into something different. I feel like especially if you've been asking for the universe to bring you someone that like you need, not someone that you want, but someone that you need. I feel like this is the universe saying like, yes, like we're doing this. I also feel like with the Fool card being here, I feel like you both are trying to achieve the same thing in different ways. So for this person, I feel like they are trying to kind of let go of their foolish tendencies in the sense that they want to take a leap of faith into something more serious instead of just constantly staying in this Fool energy. And I feel like for you, you're ready for something new. I feel like you're ready for something lighter and for something where there's room to grow and learn for the both of you. And so I feel like Spirit is kind of having this experience align so that the both of you can have the opportunity to have more fun, to look at different sides of life and look at the lighter sides of life as well. I feel like even though this person already does look at the lighter sides of life, I feel like they don't know how to ground that in serious ways. And I feel like if you're more grounded and serious, this person is going to help you feel more free to take more risks. I feel like both of you are ready for some type of new beginning, and some type of beginning with a major cycle. And I feel like this, for some reason, the O in offering and like the 0 here with the Fool is kind of symbolic to me that this situation and this connection is an opportunity for a new start. And while you may not know where it's going or where it's going to lead to, I feel like Spirit is saying like you're both energetically aligned in the sense of ready to take a leap of faith into something different and something new. And I also think that you both may be open to things that you once weren't. And so that's also a reason why you're aligning, is because I think you both are having more of an open mind and kind of trusting what the universe is bringing your way, rather than trying to control things and say it has to be X, Y, Z and we have to do things this way and I'm not into people that are like this, or I won't do things like that. And I feel like it's just like when you let your cares into the wind a little bit and just be open to what could be and what might be showing up, it's almost like, okay, I'm ready to try this. And I feel like I feel like this is more so you, where you might be like, I might be really stupid for doing this and I don't know why I'm even doing this, but there's kind of this fuck it energy to it. Like, fuck it, let's just see what happens. And I think that you both are kind of in that energy where it's like, this may not be the most immediately like intense connection. I feel like it's something where it's going to, it's interesting because I feel like it's going to build slowly in terms of like feelings, but I think that the idea of getting to know each other and just being open to one another and seeing where things could go is going to happen pretty quickly, in the sense of like, I feel like this person is definitely going to express interest in you pretty early. And I think it's going to more so be up to you to be open to it and be like, okay, it might take you some time to warm up to this person. But I think that they're also not going to take your rejection very seriously, which is what's going to help them kind of be more open too. I feel like they're going to kind of sense that they have a chance, and that like maybe you're just kind of pushing them off because they're not typically your type or they're a bit different. But I feel like they're just kind of gonna try to like charm you, and not in a manipulative way, but in a like, listen, I'm not trying to be some type of way, which is kind of ironic because like the Ice King is known for kidnapping women and like trying to make them be his wife. But I don't think that this person is like the Ice King. I think that he is just someone who is a bit persistent, and I feel like in your case, they are going to see a lot of value here. Because here's the thing too, I don't think that this person necessarily pursues people very often. I think they usually have people come to them and they just don't take it very seriously. And I think actually one trap that maybe a lot of people involved with this person got into is that maybe this person didn't outright tell people what they wanted or what was going on because they didn't think they needed to. And then the people interested in them, the people pursuing them, may have projected their fantasies and desires onto them because this person didn't really give a lot to work with in the first place. And then the person that was doing that would end up getting really hurt and upset once they realized that this person was in a completely different headspace and not even thinking about that. And so I feel like this person maybe has realized how they've accidentally hurt people, but also they're very aware of what's not theirs to carry. And I feel like they're very easy at brushing off like projections or things like that from other people. I do think they have a very strong mentality, but they're also recognizing how that can be a weakness and how it's important for them to be aware of other aspects, not just logic. But I do think that they're someone that's very interesting to talk to, very witty, very clever. And I think that this will definitely start as something where you both are just like silly and goofy with one another. And I think that they'll really like that element of you where you can just be silly and goofy with them too. But I think they'll also see that there's some depth there and that you have knowledge and wisdom for them that would be really beneficial for them to learn from. And I think for you, there's going to be this like element of like, they're really not my typical type, but I feel like they're going to grow on you in a way that's like, you start to become open to it and realize that it could actually be something really valuable and beneficial for you. So I'm going to go ahead now and see how you can already show yourself love while you're waiting for this person to come in. So Spirit, how can pile 1 show themselves love while waiting for this situation to come in? Okay, we have the Tower. I might get clarifier for that. So what is this? Okay, we have the Tower and the Hanged Man. That's really interesting. So I definitely think you and this person may be mirroring quite a bit, where you may be going through some interesting challenges and changes. And especially if you're going through a lot of intense change right now, this person may be a little bit like out, like it might take a little while to meet this person, not like a really long time. I just think that maybe like for example, maybe if you do meet this person, you won't be ready to get into something serious, so you might like be in a friendship with them first, and I feel like they're gonna be okay with that, but they're still gonna be like, hey, I feel like they're gonna kind of check in every couple months or so. But I think in terms of how you can love yourself now, I feel like if you're going through any changes, especially really challenging and difficult ones, is to be compassionate to yourself and not beat yourself up over what has happened. You know, the Hanged Man is all about surrender and looking at things from a different perspective, but I definitely feel like both of these cards are really challenging and really frustrating energies. And so first of all, like if you are going through something really challenging and difficult right now, I just want to send you so much love and know that, you know, life is hard, life is challenging, but you don't need to be hard on yourself on top of it. To really be kind to yourself and recognize that while these changes may not be welcome, they could be exactly what you need, even if you can't see it at this time. Oftentimes, the Tower really only happens when it's on shaky foundations. Obviously, this is a very unique Tower card, but a tower will weather the storm if it's built on solid foundations. And so when storms come and the tower doesn't last, that's usually because the foundations there weren't solid in the first place. But I feel like if you're someone who's feeling like things need to change and that you need to make changes in your life, that you need to let go of certain things, let go of certain people, let go of certain lifestyles, I feel like Spirit is saying that while those changes might be very challenging to make, they are, if you feel that it's right there and that's what you need, that you should trust in that and take those changes, but also to recognize that sometimes it's better to just surrender to what is than to try to fight something because you wish it were different. I feel like especially with the Hanged Man being here, you might be in a really challenging cycle right now where you might not be sure like why things are happening this way or what's going to happen or if you're going to come out on the other side of things. And I feel like first of all, you are, and that this might just be a really challenging cycle for you. And I think the biggest thing is that you're not trapped, although it may feel like that. And I feel like this Tower energy is either coming in to shake things up and help you, or you've already experienced it and you're kind of dealing with the aftershocks of that change. And I feel like one thing you need to know is that you just don't beat yourself up about what's happening, and you know, whatever you need to do to cope, like please find, you know, whatever it is that you need in order to help you feel supported and nourished, whether that's getting professional help, whether that is, you know, leaning on friends and family, whatever that may be for you. You know, don't be afraid to spend extra time and energy on just nurturing yourself and helping yourself. I feel like when we go through these really difficult situations and difficult struggles, you know, we can want to bury ourselves in work or things like that and pretend like everything's fine. But if you're not fine, don't force yourself to pretend that you are, and don't force yourself to be something that you're not. Like, it's okay to be honest with yourself when you're struggling. It's okay to be transparent, like with others, that you're struggling as well. Not everyone may be able to support you the way you need, but I feel like if you have the means to look at what within yourself needs nurtured or supported, I feel like that's the best way to start with loving yourself, in terms of like, okay, I need emotional support in the form of a friend, a family member, professional help, or I need time away from this place so I can, you know, gather my bearings. So, you know, maybe that's reaching out to a friend who lives in a different place, or, you know, booking a trip by yourself, or whatever it may be. I'm listing a bunch of different things, but none of them have to work or be true for you. I just feel like with the Tower and the Hanged Man, you might be really resistant to what the changes are. You might know what changes you need to make, and you're just not wanting to make them right now because you're afraid. And I feel like it's okay to wait if you're afraid, but if you know in your heart that things need to change, and you're just afraid to take that step, or you're afraid that you're wrong, I feel like this is confirmation that you are right. And if you've been feeling like you need to love yourself more and you need to give yourself more love, and the answer that you've been getting, sorry, burping so much, I'm fine. This happens when I channel and drink things with carbonation in them. When you recognize that you need to make those changes, you might be afraid of things getting worse, but I feel like those changes that you're making could be the steps that you need to take for things to get better and things to get brighter. And I feel like this connection is a sign that there is a new beginning coming for you. And I think that you're going to be in the energy of being ready for that new beginning when the time comes for you and this person to come together. But I definitely think with the Hanged Man here as well, is to really be kind to yourself, especially when it comes to surrendering to what is, because sometimes we can want to resist things and pretend like we're fine and pretend like we're okay. And I feel like the universe just wants you to know that, like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to have a hard time. You don't have to put on a brave face and act like everything is fine for the sake of others. Like, sometimes we need to give ourselves the room and the freedom to just kind of crumble and be in rock bottom or be in that difficult place, because getting that energy out and really just processing that is the first step to getting back to a lighter and brighter energy. You're not going to be stuck here forever, even if you are in a sticky situation. Things are changing, whether it's through the hand of the divine or it's through your own changes. But one thing I will say is that things will get better, even if you can't see that right now. And to just know that no matter what challenges you are going through, being hard on yourself on top of it is not going to help you any. In fact, the best thing that you can do is pretend like if you saw a loved one or someone you cared about going through the same situation as you, would you shame them and beat them up for it and tell them to just get over it and just to keep moving forward? I don't think you would. I bet you would be exceptionally kind and compassionate to them and be understanding of what they're going through. And so I think for yourself, you need to recognize that you deserve that care and compassion too, even though your ego might be lying to you and saying that you don't need that you don't need anything. But if you need help, if you need support, whatever you need, just being honest with yourself is the first step to finding that. And it's only going to be harmful to yourself if you ignore what's going on within you or what's going on around you that's creating pain or creating struggle and suffering. So I feel like the best way you can show yourself love is to be kind to yourself and to really nurture yourself in the best way you can through any challenging time that you're experiencing or any challenging situation that you're experiencing. So I want to look at now an illusion around love that you carry and what you need to know about it. So what's an illusion that pile 2 has around love that they need to be aware of? Okay, it's these 2 cards. All right, so we have the Ace of Cups and the Chariot. Oh, so that's interesting. We have the back card here with the Ace of Cups and the Chariot. So that's really interesting. I kind of want to get one more clarifier for that. Okay, yeah, we have the Ten of Swords. So I definitely think that this illusion is mainly that things are not going to get better, that things are not going to change, and that you're not going to get out of this challenging time, that things are not going to change, and that if love were for you, that it would have shown up already. And I feel like that is not only not true, but I feel like you are not recognizing the fact that sometimes, like, everybody goes through struggles. Nobody leaves this earth unscathed, but that does not mean that we are undeserving of love. And I feel like maybe because of these challenges that you're going through right now, that you might be under the impression that you're not worthy of love, or that nobody could ever love you the way that you are and nobody would ever want you. And I feel like that's just not true, especially with the Chariot card being here. You might be feeling like you're never going to be able to move forward and that things are never going to change. And I feel like Spirit is really saying that there is change coming, and that endings, while they may be painful, always lead to new beginnings. And I feel like one illusion that you may have is that nobody is going to want to give you an offer, that things are never going to be emotionally fun and fulfilling again. And I feel like Spirit's saying that's just not true. You might feel that way, and that's okay, but that's not true. Especially with the Chariot card being here, you can and will move forward in your time, when it's right, when you're ready. And not only that, the Chariot only moves forward when things are balanced. And the cool thing with this horse standing on the beach ball is like, the horse has to be pretty balanced to stand on that beach ball, and it looks like he's having a lot of fun. And with that back card being here, I feel like you might almost be in disbelief that anyone could even be interested in you or want something with you, and Spirit's really saying, no, it's coming, trust. But it's gonna happen when things are a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter, and you've healed. Not saying you have to be completely healed, but you've healed enough to the point where you're not stuck in the throes of whatever you're going through. And there's no shame around going through something challenging and difficult. It's just recognizing that sometimes we have to work through that darkness in order to see the fact that light can and is possible, not only in general, but for us, and that we are worthy and deserving of that. And with the Chariot card being here, there might be issues, like if you had a really difficult relationship with your mother specifically, there might be issues around receiving nurturing or being nurtured in general. And I would really encourage you to look into forging a connection with the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother is just the energy of pure divine feminine energy, and she can be expressed through many different ways. She can be expressed in her purest form, which is just the divine feminine, but she can also be expressed in things like Mother Mary, Kali Ma, Lady Isis, Kuan Yin. There's many others, but for example, any Alana Fairchild oracle decks around those figures, for example, can be incredibly helpful, and they have a lot of healing techniques and things like that. So if you're drawn to any of those, or you want to get something like that to kind of help you through your healing journey, I think that could be especially beneficial for you. But I feel like the one illusion that you need to break through is the idea that things will never get better and that there won't be a new beginning for you, because there absolutely will. And this person may actually relate to the struggles that you're going through more than you realize. And there might be a bright, light, fun new beginning with this person that may just be around the corner of you just getting ready to move forward. I definitely feel like if you feel like things are never going to change and you're never going to move forward, that is the illusion that you need to let go of. But it's okay to feel those things and experience those things, because we have to be patient with ourselves and patient with what we're going through. And the Tower is not easy energy. And while I do not know what you're going through or what your circumstances are, I do know that after the Tower comes the Star, and the Star is all about hope and healing. So the biggest thing that you need to know is that things will get better and that there is hope, but it's okay if you feel otherwise. It's okay if you feel like shit. Like, you're allowed to feel like shit, and you have a right to feel like shit. And the more you can kind of allow yourself to be honest with what you're feeling and be honest with what you're going through, the easier it is to kind of work through that stuff, so it doesn't sit and fester within you and come out in random times when you're not expecting it. You know, the healthiest thing that we can do is be honest with ourselves about where we're at, so that we can meet our needs and meet whatever is coming to the surface, rather than suppressing it and denying it, because that's just going to keep it there, and it's just going to wait for another opportunity to come out. And oftentimes that stuff comes out when we're not wanting it to, or when we're imbibing in substances, or, you know, trying to let loose and let free, let our hair fly, and then that stuff comes up and we're like, like we're not expecting it, and we get a little blindsided by it. So what the universe really wants you to know is that you can and will move forward, even if it doesn't feel like that right now, and that this emotional opportunity is coming to you with this Ace of Cups. Like, it can and will happen, and it will happen after kind of this ending of whatever you are going through. And not only that, you'll be able to move forward with a much balanced perspective. And I'm just really rooting for you, Pile 2. I really hope, I'm sending you a big hug, and I hope, you know, that whatever you're going through, that you have care and support with you. But, you know, if you want a little support in the comments section, feel free to comment what you're going through. I always love seeing you guys support one another and give one another love. Just know that I'm giving you tons of love, and I really hope that everything's okay, and I really hope that you're being kind to yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, finish the YouTube reading off with some advice and guidance for you. So to start, we have, I forgive myself for feeling as though if I don't do it, no one will. I choose to believe that when I allow others to prioritize tasks as they see fit, I allow them to clarify what is important so that they may pursue a life more resonant with their truest selves. So with the caregiver card here, you know, especially if you are a parent or something like that, you know, obviously when you are a parent, a lot of your time and energy has to go to your kids, but definitely try to be aware of when you maybe wholly neglect yourself in that process. You know, even if it's just 5 minutes of self-care, even that alone can make a difference. I'm not a parent, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, parenting tips, like here's how to do that. Like, I don't fucking know. But what I do know is that that doesn't mean that you should just completely neglect yourself and your needs for your humans. I mean, they will love you, and they're gonna love you a whole lot more when, you know, you have the energy to fully give to that. Anyway, with that out of the way, if you have people that are not your children that are expecting you to care for them and expecting you to care for them, fix their life, things like that, it's important to pay attention to what's your job and what isn't. Obviously, if you have made humans or something like that, it is much more your responsibility to care for them and things like that. But if you're not their parents, if you're not directly responsible for them, and you feel like you have to care for them or do things for them, I would really take a step back in recognizing where you might be setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. And the thing is, if you do have children, you know, I would, if you can, like, look into ways where maybe you can get them to spend a night with their grandparents, or like get them to spend a night at friends' houses. There's something where you can at least get a night to yourself, get some reprieve for yourself. I know, like, parent guilt and parent shame is really real and a huge thing. So, you know, don't be hard on yourself. Like, nobody's perfect, and I feel like there's a lot of stress put on parents to be like these perfect people that go like above and beyond for everything and everyone. And it's just like, man, you're still human. Just because you made other humans doesn't mean you have to like ignore your own humanity. You have needs too, and your needs are important as well. But we also have your psychic abilities are currently evolving and awakening. You may be experiencing visions, vivid dreams, or hearing audible messages from spirit. You are ready for this. Let go of fear. So this might actually be part of this tower moment. You might start hearing things, seeing things, knowing things, and it might be a little scary or overwhelming, but what I want you to know is you'll be okay, and to trust yourself, trust your discernment, trust what you get. If you get any messages though not based in love, that don't feel comforting to you, I would take that as not genuine guidance. Genuine guidance will always feel uplifting, and it won't tell you directly what to do. It will give you suggestions, it will give you options, and you don't have to listen to it. But if you get anything that's scary or makes you feel afraid, that is not genuine guidance, and that is not something that you need to heed or take to heart. But we also have release with the solar plexus chakra, and the subject is tension. The trigger statement is, I have nothing left, and the true statement is, I nurture myself, which is important. Exactly what you need to do is nurture yourself. Dear one, it's time to settle. It's time to settle. Create a sacred space where you can be. In that place of rest, healing will unfold. And that's the thing. You don't have to think too deeply about like how to heal and things like that. Like when you get a cut on your body, it heals pretty naturally. We go to sleep every night so that we can heal and restore ourselves. So if you're not resting, that's a big thing. That's a big thing that you need to be paying attention to. But also, you know, sometimes healing can come naturally, and it can come in waves where things just come up and we, you know, feel the emotions that we have to feel, and we just naturally work through it. We write it down. We have realizations. We start to release things, and it kind of happens naturally. But you can also take things into your own hands by, you know, getting things like healing books or things that guide you through healing or things like that, especially if you have like specific things like I'm hearing right now, like PTSD or something like that. You know, there are workbooks and things online, or, you know, stuff that talks about methods of healing and methods of, you know, just what you can do to help yourself. And, you know, obviously this is a general reading, so I can't just sit here and be like, hey, listen, here's what to do. This is kind of what's going to help you take initiative in your own healing journey and recognize that it's not okay to pretend like you're okay when you're not okay. That's not cool to yourself. And that's actually just preventing the healing that wants to occur so that you can live life with more joy, with more freedom and lightness. But we also have expressing love. Today, I notice the things I appreciate about the people in my life. I take a moment to send them love and wish them well. My love is infinite and it feels great to express it. And I think expressing love to yourself is very important as well. You know, honoring yourself for how far you've come and all the things you've accomplished, and you know, just the fact that you're here and you have a beating heart and you're human and you've made it this far in life, and even though it hasn't been easy, you've still done it anyway, and that's a damn accomplishment in of itself. But finally, we're just going to look at what you need to surrender. So we have surrender procrastination. Now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. So I feel like the biggest thing is, like, if you've been procrastinating on doing things, especially related to healing, that you know you need to do, just out of fear, I feel like that's one thing to recognize, where maybe you're kind of keeping yourself stuck from being open to the solutions that are just right in front of you. Like, if you feel intuitively you know what you need in order to start that process, start making that process happen, you know, take action towards it, even if it's just calling to make an appointment. I know that's like the scariest thing in the world, especially if you're Gen Z like me, but like, think about how accomplished you will feel after you've got that you know, appointment made. You know what I mean? It's like, then you can write it down, so then you can check it off a list and just be like, wow, I am such a bad bitch. I talked on the phone and made an appointment. Like, I know that sounds, some of you that don't understand that, you better not be shitty in the fucking comment section, because you have no idea how challenging it can be to talk on the phone, all right? If you don't get it, that doesn't mean you need to be a dick about it, all right? Anyway, just being kind to yourself and being open to taking action in ways that will nurture yourself and nourish yourself, so that you can start moving forward on that journey of feeling lighter and letting go of the challenging times, so that we can move forward to ones that are lighter and more enjoyable. And of course, that doesn't mean that life is always going to be sunshines and rainbows, but at least the more we learn how to deal with our pain, the more we learn how to deal with our struggles, it just makes it easier to weather the storms, because we have more tools under our belt, we have more experience, and we know that the sun will always come out again. So pile 2, that is where I am going to leave your reading. I'm going to go ahead and head over to the extended now. If you want to check that out, please do. It is a wonderful way to support me. But if you want to show appreciation for what I do and support me in any other ways, you can like this video, which is really helpful. You can let the ads play in the background while you do something else that is so helpful. So thank you to everyone who does that. You can comment down below, let me know how it resonates, and subscribe if you haven't already. And click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also check out my social media, though to be aware I have tons of scammers pretending to be me. So just know that I do not offer personal readings, and anyone sliding into your DMs offering you a personal reading is a scammer and a liar. And let's see, what else do I have? I also have merch, but that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Carnelian heart and the Mystical Medleys tarot, this is going to be your reading on the person that is coming into your life next, or they may already be in your life. You may know who they are, you may not. It's just depends. But like I said in the intro, if you get the pile that sounds like you might be getting the reading about you. So if you don't want to hear about yourself, I would try a different pile. Anyway, let's go ahead and see who this person is. So to start, we have the box, and we have the Pilgrim. We have the 5 of Cups, and we have the Crocodile, and we have Victory. Kind of put these around. Okay. So for some of you, you might actually know who this person is, depending on the environment. Like, I'm hearing for some of you that you might work with this person, or you might know, like, you might work in the same building as them, or have a similar, you might run in similar circles, is a vibe that I'm getting. But for others, you may have no clue who this person is, but they might know who you are. For some of you, I'm getting. But for others of you, you may have no idea who this person is yet. But essentially, the person that's coming into your life is an interesting case. they definitely, I feel like, are going to become aware of you and your energy before you're aware of them. In fact, I feel like they might observe you from afar, not in like a creepy way, but I do feel like this is someone who will play things very cool and be very detached. I feel like if you do meet them, you might sense that there's something more to them, especially if most people just kind of accept what this person says on the surface or accepts their behavior as it is. I feel like you just might sense that there's something kind of off about them, and I don't mean off in like a bad way, but just like whatever they project is not the energy that you get from them. And I want to say immediately that you're absolutely right about that, because I definitely feel like whoever this person is, they are someone who has either grown up with very rigid rules, like in a very strict home, or they feel very trapped by their expectations or the circumstances in which they have been brought up to live by. I also feel like this is someone who maybe hasn't really thought for themselves very much about what they've wanted out of life. They've kind of always done what was expected of them. And the interesting thing is that I feel like when this person is coming into your life, or when you become aware of them and you're feeling like something is a bit off about them, I think what you're actually going to be picking up on is that this person is actually not in the best place when you meet them or when you become aware of them. With the Five of Cups being here, I feel like this person is becoming aware of the fact that the life that they thought that they wanted, or the life that they were brought up to be a part of, is not the life that they realize now that they truly wanted. And I do feel like there's a bit of sadness. They could be going through something like depression, or just feeling really cynical and seeing the world as kind of gray, because their idealized expectations, or the idealized expectations placed upon them, they realize are not at all what they thought that they wanted. And I feel like depending on this person's age, they could really be beating themselves up, like I should have taken time off of school and gone traveling, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. And I feel like there's a lot of inner frustration at themselves, and quite potentially their family, because it's possible, I feel like for some of you, they could have been brought up to take on some sort of family business, or there could have been, really stressful expectations that, maybe their parents were like, you can be a doctor or a lawyer, like that's it. Or they had to get some type of prestige. It's almost like they've gotten to the level that they were supposed to be at, and now that they're there, they're realizing that all that glitters isn't gold, and that in fact this isn't what they wanted. And I think that they are a little bit sad that they've lost a lot of themselves in this process. And I feel like already one of the reasons why they're going to be very drawn to you is because you have a light within you that they resonate with, but feel like theirs has kind of died, or that they I'm getting this like a specific example from Step Brothers, when the dad, like when they're at the fucking Catalina wine mixer, and the dad is like, listen, I always wanted to be a dinosaur. And he never followed through on his dreams to be, oh my god, it's being a dinosaur crocodile. Like, he never followed through on his dreams to be a dinosaur, and like, he became a doctor, and he says that he kind of regrets not following his dinosaur passion a little bit more, or something like that. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I definitely feel like there's an aspect where this person had to abandon a lot of parts of themselves in order to conform to what they thought that they were supposed to be. And they were okay with that, because I do think that this person has some sort of generational cycle where the people in this person's family have brushed aside the things that they truly wanted in the name of duty, or in the name of survival, in the name of upholding some sort of family legacy or something like that. For some of you, I definitely get that there's a really strong family energy here, but for others, I feel like this person they could have even had a very like chillax family, but maybe they just really cared about what other people thought and they really wanted to prove themselves, especially if maybe they grew up and were kind of like bullied or things like that. They felt like they needed to really push the envelope in terms of what was possible for them. And I feel like they've pursued success at the cost of their soul, kind of. And so when you come into the picture, because I really do feel like you might be entering this person's environment, or they're going to kind of notice you before you notice them. And I feel like they're going to be in this energy of like, they may not understand why they're so drawn to you or why they're so attracted to you. In fact, this person might be someone who's very like, only does like casual connections and things like that. And I feel like that's another thing where they have kind of realized like, that's not necessarily what they want either. Like maybe that was kind of their MO, and now they've kind of just stopped doing that because that wasn't bringing them fulfillment either. Because the pilgrim and the box are two very contrasting energies. You know, the box is all about structures and sometimes things that can keep us trapped. I almost feel like if you've ever seen the office that this person works in, like they might consider their office, if they do work in an office, like these four walls are like their prison or something like that. I feel like this person has dreams to travel, dreams to just kind of explore their heart's inner desires and to go different places, see different things, and experience the world. And I feel like for whatever reason, they either didn't get to do that, or they feel like that isn't a possibility for them, or they're too tied to whatever they have created or done. And so they feel like they've missed out on a lot of those opportunities. But I do feel like a lot of that perspective comes from this mushroom card. Not to pun, but I do think they used to consider themselves a fun guy. And now they're just kind of like, they just feel like kind of a shell of themselves. And I feel like when they meet you or when they become aware of you, they're going to be really cautious about how they approach you and if they talk to you. In fact, I'm actually interested to see how this person will actually approach you or make you aware of their presence, because I do feel like this person is going to keep things very cool and very detached. Like you might have no idea that this person has interest in you, or you might be like, you might kind of doubt yourself when you pick up like vibes that this person might be interested or something like that. The crocodile card being here definitely tells me that this person is not someone to act on impulse. I definitely think that they're actually someone who is much more, I get kind of Scorpio vibes from them. But we do have all the water signs here, which would also be Cancer and Pisces. So they could have any of those signs, but they don't have to. But they definitely do have a lack of emotional fulfillment in their life. And one of the things that is definitely going to draw them to you is the fact that you just seem to be very lighthearted and full of life. Even if you don't necessarily feel that way, that's how this person perceives you. And I think that you kind of speak to an aspect of them that they once saw in themselves, where they had a lot of dreams and they felt very, they saw their life being more free. And it's almost like they somehow willingly got themselves into this box, and now they're realizing it's not what they wanted. I think they almost chose ultimate security over pursuing a path less traveled. And now they're like, what if I had done that? Like, what if I had been successful? And I think with this victory card here, this person does have a mentality of like, I don't want to lose. I don't want to miss out on something. And so I definitely think they're going to be especially cautious to when they interact with you, because they don't want to like lose in this situation. I feel like maybe if they have opened their heart up to people before, it has ended really poorly, or they've just felt like they lost in the situation. I definitely think that's maybe that's a mentality that you don't really have, and so that would probably be good for them to experience. Like, life is not about winning and losing, it's just about having experiences and learning and growing. But I definitely think that this person will take their time in terms of like making a move and building up the confidence to talk to you and interact with you. I also think they're probably going to study you from afar and like kind of get a vibe on you. And it's almost like they're trying to maximize their chances of not screwing things up with you, with not being rejected. but I almost feel like you kind of have like a golden aura to them, just you just have a more light energy. And I feel like this person has been stuck in a dark place for a while, and I don't think that they would be really open to talking about this, especially not when they first meet you or anything like that. In fact, I feel like this person is really good at pretending like things are just like things are fine and that they like their life and everything's good. Like I'm hearing like the song from Frozen, like Let It Go. I'm hearing the word specifically, like conceal, don't feel. I feel like they're just very good at putting forward this intimidating presence that makes other people just kind of believe whatever they express on the surface. And I think because of whatever this person does in life, people automatically assume that this person does have a good life and is happy about their life. Like for some of you, I feel like this person could be, you know, doing something really high up in a job, or they could be, you know, just really well established, or doing something that takes a lot of hard work to reach. And I think that a lot of people just kind of assume what this person projects on the surface. And I think that one thing that they're going to be aware of is that you kind of seem to see through them, and that might also intimidate them as well and kind of make them want to be a little bit standoffish towards you. But I do think that there are two parts of them where the soul part of them really yearns to be free, but the ego part of them really is afraid of breaking out of the box that they've kind of trapped themselves in. And I think that they do kind of have a bit of a like woe is me attitude, and I don't think that's really the truth of them. I think it's just something that you know, obviously when you deal with like mental health issues and things like that, it can, you know, distort your reality. And I think that this person with this Five of Cups here, they've been so focused on what hasn't gone wrong. They've been focused on the negatives a lot, which I'm not bashing them for that, because when you're in a dark place, it's very easy to only focus on the dark. And I think that you're almost kind of coming in as like a light of theirs, and I think that they're going to be really taken aback by your energy. Like your energy alone is kind of like a breath of fresh air. But I definitely feel like with this Five of Cups here, they could have even too done psychedelics, like magic mushrooms or something like that, and had some sort of realization about how they were living and the fact that it wasn't bringing them fulfillment. And it's almost like maybe they were fine with the life that they were living and kind of ignored their inner desires really well, and then they had some sort of psychedelic experience, and it's almost like now they have to show up and do the same stuff in the same way, and they're realizing, and it's like the things that they were once fine with and could suppress, like they can no longer ignore, because like they've seen the truth of how the reality of the life, they've seen the reality of the life that they're living and how it isn't fulfilling them and nourishing them internally. And it's becoming more and more apparent. And I almost feel like your energy and your presence is like you're like jumper cables for their soul, if that makes sense. Like their soul battery died a little bit and they were just kind of cool with that, and then you've like come back with like, and it's literally just your presence. It's not even really you doing anything, but it's just like your energy and your aura. It's like, oh wait, desires, dreams. I used to have that stuff. And I think right now they're kind of in this dark night of the soul type of energy that they're trying to work through. But the vast majority of people would not know that just by looking at them. I definitely do think that they are prone to looking at the glass half empty. The typical Five of Cups shows someone looking at 3 cups spilled in front of them and 2 upright cups behind them, and they're so focused on the cups that are spilled, they're not looking at what they still do have. I feel like this person actually underestimates the ability that they would have to change up their life. I think they've just gotten so used to living in a certain way that they're afraid of going outside of that. So I definitely feel like their vibe is hoping for something better. But I feel like at the same time, there's massive pressure for them to conform, whether it's pressure they put on themselves or pressure around them, or maybe both. But I feel like there's this inner soul yearning to kind of break out of that and do what feels right for them. And I almost feel like your energy is kind of a catalyst for them to be unable to ignore themselves further. I definitely think that they're going to be very drawn to like your nature, especially if you're like really free-spirited, or if you have traveled a lot, or for example, like if you're from a different country than them, like maybe you move to their country to like work or something like that, and they're just really fascinated by your story. I feel like you are very different from them in whatever way they may think. And it could just be like maybe you have similar backgrounds, but you just have a completely different personality, or just maybe you're a glass half full type of person, and maybe you make the most of any situation. And whatever the case may be, I do feel like this person sees you as a breath of fresh air. And I feel like they're definitely coming into your life in a way where you may have no idea that they have any interest in you, or they may really hold themselves back, especially if they think that you are with someone else or dating someone else, or they're worried that they may be rejected. I definitely feel like they're going to take their time when it comes to coming forward and kind of getting to know you, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling your tarot. But I did quickly want to mention while I'm shuffling, if this resonates and you would like to check out the extended that is linked below, I figured I would talk about what's going to be in there. So we are going to be looking at why this person is attracted to you, what they're attracted to in you, and why they're drawn to you. We're also going to be looking at what their intentions are towards you, so that you can get a better idea of what they may be looking for, or just what their intentions are in general. And then we're going to get channel messages from their higher self and their 3D self. We're going to be using the Hermit Tarot's channeled messages, so those are really rich with information. And then we're going to finish off with charms and letters and numbers to see if there's any important signs, synchronicities, any initials, any letters, any places, or any timing aspects that you should be aware of. So that will be linked below if you're interested, but I'm going to go ahead now and start by looking at why are you attracting this person into your life. So Spirit, why is this person coming into pile 3's life? Why are they aligning with one another? Okay, so we have the King of Swords coming out in reverse. I feel like it's meant to be that way, but I kind of want to get a clarifier for that. So, okay, we have the Tower. All right, so I definitely think that this person is coming in during some major change that you've had as well. Like maybe you are coming out of like a long-term relationship, or you've made this decision to like make a big move, for example, like I was talking about, or change your job or change your life in some sort of drastic way. I feel like the thing that is drawing the both of you together is that you have already broken out of some sort of mental illusions or mental traps that you've been telling yourself, and realize that like if you kept living from a place of logic and from a place of like, this is the right way to do things, and if I'm going to be safe I have to do things this way, I feel like you could have gone through some like drastic change that could have been rough, but you've come out of it in this energy of like, man, if I can handle that, like I can handle anything. Or like there's definitely this energy where I do think that you are going to be a tower moment for this person. I don't think they're going to be a tower moment for you unless you've been really asking for some sort of significant change. I feel like most of you already have gone through some sort of significant change or are about to. And truthfully, I don't feel like this significant change is something upsetting. I think the only thing it may be upsetting towards is your ego, or like what you thought you wanted. And I think that's something that you and this person are going to bond over. But with the King of Swords in reverse, I feel like you have already recognized a lot of where maybe the way that you perceived people was kind of like through rose-colored glasses, or through what you thought they were. I feel like you could have maybe gone through a really difficult breakup with someone where maybe they were manipulative, or maybe they were cruel, or maybe they just weren't fair to you. And maybe that was just a really hard experience where it kind of shook you up and made you feel like there was something wrong with you, when in reality it was them. And I feel like for a lot of you, you've either already been on this healing journey, or you've been starting this healing journey where you are learning how to say no to people that aren't worth your energy. And I don't mean that like people are worthless, but like our energy is precious, and we do have to spend it on people that are going to uplift us and make us feel good about ourselves. And I feel like for you, you just kind of realize that like the way that you are living, or the life that most people do live, is not what you wanted. And so I feel like you're coming in either with the experience of how to work through some sort of dramatic change-ups and dramatic experiences, and or you're coming in to help kind of shake this person out of their out of the illusion that they're still clinging to. I really feel like if you and this person were two energies, you'd be the sun and they'd be the moon. Obviously, we all have sun and moon energy within us, but I definitely feel like you are much more you feel much more empowered than this person does, which could be kind of ironic because this person could be in like a very powerful position in life. But I feel like you've recognized where your power comes from and the fact that it comes from within. And you might actually be the type of person to really like change and really enjoy change. Even if you don't necessarily enjoy how it happens, the result of that change, I feel like you become very satisfied with. And I also think you are seeing through a lot of the mental illusions that someone like this person says to themselves. So I almost feel like you two are aligning because the universe wants to shake this person out of their their way of living that's keeping them miserable. I also feel like if you've been looking for some sort of change and looking for this shakeup, especially when it comes to your outlook on life, especially if you've been feeling more cynical or more frustrated, I feel like the universe is going to say, hey, we've always had your back. We've always been rooting for you. Like, just because you can't always see us doesn't mean that we're not here. And so I definitely feel like you both are ready for major change. And I think that for you, it's going to be something that kind of like happens out of nowhere. And for this person, you're going to come out of nowhere. But for them, it's like they're going to kind of plot and figure out their best way forward, where you might know of this person but have like no idea that they have any interest in you. But I definitely think you both are due for some really major change. And if you've already been through it, I feel like you are meant to kind of help support this person to feel safe enough to make major changes that they need to make. And I feel like this isn't something where like this person needs you, but it's almost like you're a living testament to the fact that you don't have to live in a way that society thinks is acceptable, or you don't have to live according to what the mean people in your life say, or what the judgmental or harsh people in your life say. And I also feel like you're recognizing your worth too, especially if you have had people in your past that belittled you or talked down to you or made you feel like you weren't good enough or that you weren't enough. I think that you've realized like, no, that's bullshit. Like, you're just projecting your own crap onto me. And I think that you have really recognized where your power lies. And I feel like you're not going to put up with someone that doesn't treat you right. And so I feel like this person maybe also has similar experiences like that. And I think that they're really going to try to not show any of their insecurities around you. But I definitely think the biggest reason why you both are aligning is because you're meant for major change. And I think for you, for a lot of you, I feel like you've already been through a lot of those changes, and you're kind of in the star energy of like hope and healing and moving forward. And for them, they kind of need a divine shakeup that's really going to make them realize like, I can't keep living like this. Like, this is not satisfying me, and my outlook and my mentality is keeping me miserable. And so I feel like you're going to be a really welcome change, even if at first they don't like it. I feel like the one thing I do like to say about the Tower is that, we obviously look at it as a really scary card, but towers built on solid foundations are going to weather storms. So towers that do not have a solid foundation are the only ones that are going to be knocked down. And so I feel like you've been starting to build a solid foundation for yourself. And I feel like it's almost this person's turn to get the divine whack so that they can recognize that they are trying to hold something together that's not meant to stay together for them, which I think is just the lifestyle that they've built. So I'm going to look now at how you can show love to yourself right now in this moment. So how can pile 3 do that, Spirit? We have Happy Squirrel, which I definitely think that's meant to be upright. And I love this card. And I feel like this is a lot about just like being present and reminding yourself like the beautiful things that are already in your life. And I also am really drawn to this acorn because, yeah, moving on my cards. Because acorns are a seed and they eventually do grow into large trees. And I feel like one thing that you need to know to show love to yourself is to be patient with yourself through your growth and through your processes, and to remember that every tree starts as a seed, and that no matter where you are on this journey, like there are things that you can like remind yourself to be grateful for. Like if you have pets, like the connection you have with them, or if you go outside and go for walks, like just the beauty of nature and how beautiful life can be. I almost kind of want to read the Happy Squirrel card because it's a unique card to this deck, and I really just want to see what it says because it might be helpful to you. So let me get that out. So here's the deck. I don't know where the Happy Squirrel card is. Exclusive cards 32. Okay. So Happy Squirrel. The Happy Squirrel is a vague and mysterious mendicant, secretly scurrying to and fro up and down the world tree. What has he unearthed this time? Is this acorn a seed that needs planting to bring an interesting idea to fruition, or a tantalizing treat to be enjoyed right now? Truly an unknown factor. There's much to learn from this happy chap who has cleverly stored away exactly what he needs to now enjoy his moment in the sun. So I definitely think for some of you, maybe you're going through this challenging change right now and you're like wondering if you should take some sort of risk, like moving to a new place or following through on an idea that maybe makes you nervous. And I feel like this is the sign to follow what is lighting you up, and to also, I think as well, you know, simple things like going out in the sun and enjoying that time in the sun, and just like, you know, getting that vitamin D, bruh, like just stuff like that, you know, like enjoying your time in nature, and really zooming out, but also zooming in the sense of zooming out and reminding yourself that, you know, our troubles come and go, and that, you know, we're always going to have something we're worrying about. We're always going to have something that we could be frustrated about or complain about, but like, what can we enjoy in this moment? What beauty lies in this moment? And recognizing, like looking at the glass half full. And maybe that's something that you're learning now that is going to be really beneficial for when you meet this person, but it might be that this person is waiting on the other side of some sort of significant change that you're meant to make. So if you've been thinking about making a big move or changing your job to something totally different, like this could be exactly how you end up meeting this person. So I definitely think also, you know, just also like consuming things that make you happy. So like if you have old movies or TV shows that you used to watch as a kid that made you happy, doing something like that, or just enjoying things that bring you fulfillment and bring you nourishment in the moment. Like they're not going to fix your entire life, but at least they bring you a little bit of joy. So whether that's listening to music that you love or whatever the case may be, I think more so just recognizing like how inherently worthy you are of love, and doing things that help you feel loved and just feel grateful for the moment. Do stuff like that and continue, or at least try to start looking at things half full. Like, yes, this XYZ may not be happening, but you know what? At least I have this cozy sweatshirt on my back, or at least I have this cozy ass bed and a roof over my head and things like that. You know, we can really take for granted a lot of things in our lives. And I think that gratitude is one of those things that can just really help us let go of our worries and shift into a more calm and peaceful mindset. So if any of that resonates, I think that is how you could show love to yourself. But I do feel like we need to look at an illusion around love that you may have that you either need to let go of or that spirit wants to dispel. So what illusion does pile 3 have around love that they need to be aware of? Okay, so with the 10 of Wands here, I feel like the illusion around love that you need to let go of is the idea that you have to do it all yourself, and that you have to go out and seek love. And also the idea that love has to be hard, that love has to be challenging. I feel like especially if you have had experiences with challenging people that always brought difficulties to your doorstep, that made you feel like you have to be constantly fixing problems and carrying other people's burdens, that is something that the universe is trying to get you to realize, like, those are not your burdens to carry. If you have felt, especially in the past, like you had to keep a whole relationship together, like that is not the type of relationship that you're meant to be in. And I feel like one thing that spirit wants you to realize is that they have your back and they are helping you through this process. You do not have to labor under this illusion that if you don't do it, it won't happen. Sometimes things happen right under our nose while we're focused on something else. And I feel like, ask yourself if you are making things harder for yourself than you need to be, especially when it comes to like believing that you need to be constantly making yourself available or going on tons of dates, or maybe you've also been feeling like, oh, I'm too busy or I'll never find love or something like that. I feel like whatever things that you've told yourself that bring you stress or kind of weigh you down are things that you maybe want to look at and say, is this actually true, or am I using this as truth because it's been my past experience? I feel like with the 10 of Wands, one thing that the universe wants you to know, like, I love that they stressed that this person is going to come to you, because if you've been feeling like you have to go out and find love and get that love, I feel like the universe is saying, no, actually, you can attract love. And when you focus on finding things that light you up in the moment and making the necessary changes that light your soul on fire, you can easily attract the type of love that you're looking for. And I feel like one thing that you may need to let go of is the idea that you have to do all the work in a relationship. When it's actually a mutually fulfilling relationship, you're not going to be carrying all the weight. And I feel like you may have gotten stuck in situations in the past where it was like you were carrying your own stuff and then carrying your partner's stuff too, because they didn't want to be held accountable for it. They didn't want to deal with it. And so they might have almost offloaded whatever they wanted to do, or they might have offloaded their problems on you. And so it was like, not only were you carrying your own shit, but then you're also carrying theirs. And it may have really weighed you down and made you feel like, man, like, I don't know if love is worth it or something like that. And I feel like Spirit is saying love is not meant to be so hard. Like, if someone truly loves you, they're not going to put their crap on you. Not saying that someone in the past didn't love you, but like, if they don't know how to take care of themselves and love themselves, they're obviously not, or be self-aware enough to recognize where they need to grow and improve, they're obviously not going to be a very good person to be in a relationship with, because they're not coming in with the right attitude. They're coming in for relief. They're coming in for someone to take their burdens away without having to look at them. I feel like if you are someone that carries others' pains and others' traumas and things like that, I feel like Spirit is saying you have enough to deal with on your own. It is not your job to set yourself on fire, keeping other people warm. And I think one thing that you may be feeling like is that this process has to be hard and grueling and enduring. And I feel like what Spirit's saying is you're already worthy of love now. And the idea that you have to prove yourself to the universe or prove yourself to people is not something that is based in reality. It's something that you're telling yourself is truth when it's actually not. Like, you are inherently worthy of love. Every single human is inherently worthy of love. Like, if you have a beating heart, like, you are worthy of love. And of course there's gonna be people that are like, well, what about this type of person, or what? Listen, the universe does not hold the same judgments that we do as humans. And I think one of the hard things is that we can love people so much, but if they're unwilling to change or look at how they're affecting their loved ones, and unwilling to look at how their behavior weighs on their loved ones and harms their loved ones, and instead want to make excuses or, you know, blame others or not take accountability for themselves, you know, the people around them that love them have to make the difficult decision of, well, okay, am I going to drown with this person or am I going to start swimming? And I feel like what Spirit is saying is that you deserve to swim, and that you deserve to have people in your life that are going to carry the weight with you. You know, you're not meant to be in one-sided relationships. You're not meant to be in relationships where you're carrying everything for the both of you. And I feel like what Spirit is saying is that the more you lighten your load and recognize what is your responsibility and what isn't, I feel like that will not only be super healing, but it will also help you recognize moving forward. Like, if someone does try to put you in that situation again, you can say like, no, that's not right. Like, that is your job to deal with. That's not my job to deal with. I feel like this is a lot about learning boundaries and recognize what burdens are yours to carry and what aren't. And I feel like more than anything, you know, what Spirit wants you to know is that they don't want love to be something that is hard and challenging and grueling. You know, what comes after the 10 of Wands is the Ace of Wands, and that's passion and excitement. And I feel like they want that to be an experience that you have, not something where you feel like it's just like a constant struggle and it's a constant burden that just doesn't seem to let up. And I feel like if that is your experience, then maybe that is not, like, for example, if that was your experience in a past relationship, I think that was the universe kind of showing you, okay, that's not the kind, like, clearly it seems like you've already made changes to get out of a situation like that, especially if you're at a singles reading. And I feel like that's the universe saying, like, you deserve someone who's going to carry their weight. You deserve someone that is going to take accountability for their own behavior and their own flaws. You know, we're all flawed as human beings, and we can't ask someone to be perfect. But if someone is unwilling to recognize, one, how their behavior hurts you, two, recognize their behavior in general that is harmful to others or harmful to themselves, three, unwilling to change or unwilling to look at themselves in an authentic light, you can't force them to look at that, but you don't have to stay stuck in a situation there. Obviously, it is hard letting go of things like that, especially when we get really attached to people and we want people to feel better. We want people to grow and evolve. At the end of the day, if they don't want to change, they won't. And so I feel like Spirit is really asking you to look at what burdens are actually yours to carry. And if you are carrying others' burdens because it makes you feel better, or it makes you feel like, well, at least they're not suffering. And the one thing I want you to know is that when you save people from their own, or when you carry others' burdens for them, you're actually doing both of you a disservice, because not only are you not making space for you to look at what's within you that can be healed and grown through and released, but also you're robbing that person of the experience of empowering themselves to deal with their own crap. And if you give them their crap back and they go on and give it to someone else, that's on them and that person. But you don't have to carry other people's burdens for them, and you don't have to stress yourself out. Literally, like I said, set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. That is not your job, and it's not fair to you. And not enforcing boundaries because you don't want to upset someone or you don't want to hurt someone is a form of self-betrayal and hurting yourself. And I think that you've probably gone through this experience where you're trying now to honor yourself and honor your needs, and recognize that, like, sometimes we can get ourselves in situations that we don't realize are not going to be good for us. But once we are aware of how they're not working, they're not helping us, if you're the only one willing to put in the work, that's probably not a worthwhile relationship, because you're putting in all the work. So I feel like Spirit is saying you're not meant for one-sided relationships where you have to prove your worth or hold everything together. Spirit wants a relationship for you that's lighter and brighter, and with someone that can at the very least recognize that light and recognize your innate worth and your innate value. You should never have to prove yourself. Like, you're already worthy. Point blank, period. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this reading off before I move on into the extended with some guidance for you. Oh, there is a card here. I didn't realize that was here. Ace of Swords. So I definitely feel like clarity is coming. And I think that this is also a sign that while the truth is sometimes painful to look at, it sets you free. And while it may hurt in the beginning, it will set you free of so much more in the long run. And I feel like clarity is coming, especially if you've been wanting it about a situation. And I also feel like for some of you, there might be, if you have kind of had these ideas, if you've been putting out applications or something like that, or like applying for visas or something like that, you might get some positive news or positive results soon. So yeah, I don't know, that's interesting. I didn't realize that card was there, but let's look at your advice now. So to start, we have, I forgive myself for feeling as though I need others to be for me what I must first be for myself. I choose to believe that I am fully capable of providing myself with all that I need, as long as I clarify my desires and commit to be guided there as life sees fit. So you might see other people like living the life that you want to live or having the experiences you want to have. And I feel like whatever you desire or feel drawn towards, that's the universe saying, hey, you are capable of doing that. You are capable of having that for yourself, and you don't need permission for anyone. Like, I'm hearing the TikTok audio that's like, hey, did you know that you could just like do whatever you want? Like, you don't have to ask anyone for permission or nothing. Like, you can just do it. And some people may not like that. Some people might not be happy with that, but that's their problem, you know? You owe yourself the opportunity to live the life that is going to bring you the most fulfillment. And if you don't know what that is, then you deserve to have the opportunities to explore that yourself. But we also have Spirit is currently pushing you to rest your physical, emotional, or mental body as you may be overworking yourself. Take time to replenish your energy now. You are doing too much. So yeah, especially with that 10 of Wands being there, I feel like if you're putting a lot of energy into like dating or changing things, like if you're feeling frustrated or you're feeling like things aren't working out, I feel like Spirit might be saying, hey, when you get rest, you'll get a lot of clarity from it. Like, just maybe you might even have like really insightful dreams or something like that. But we also have the third eye chakra here with the theme of being soothed. The trigger statement is, I need to fix this. And the true statement is, I am willing to learn from this. Lift yourself above your life situation and observe as a witness. Understand that you are so much more than the story. And then we also have the ground chakra, the root chakra with grounding and the theme being rooted. The trigger statement is, I am somewhere else. And the true statement is, right here, now, everything is perfect. Allow your energy to shift to the material plane where it is needed to help you complete what you have set out to do. So yeah, if you've been catching yourself kind of getting lost in fantasies or lost in idealizations of what life could be, I feel like Spirit is saying, ground yourself into now and really just look at what's already right, what's already good, and believe in yourself to help things believe in your ability to allow things to unfold and to take steps slowly but surely to get yourself closer to the life that you want. I feel like if you are someone who has a hard time being present or just being here now, I feel like getting grounded and recognizing what is actually rooted in reality and what is rooted in fears or rooted in the past or rooted in the future. The recognition of that will help you kind of clear out mental clutter that's not serving you so that you can be more organized with what is serving you, so that you can focus on those things and move forward in a productive way. But we also have unlimited. I create my reality with the thoughts I think and I focus on. I am unlimited in my ability to create a beautiful life full of good and love. Yeah, I definitely think that you are unlimited in that way. So we're going to finish off with a surrender card. So for you, we have surrender your attachments to results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen and then let go of results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. And I also think that making plans and trying to change things, if you're looking at things from like a specific goal of like, I want to make this amount of money or I want to do XYZ, you might be missing out on the value of the journey and the value of what just making that change could do. I feel like there's a need to kind of recognize where you might be placing unhealthy or unrealistic expectations on yourself, and also narrowing the opportunities that you could have for yourself by being focused on just one or a certain outcome. I feel like the universe is trying to open you up to the realization that you are unlimited and multidimensional, and there's so many different possibilities as to what could be. And so the more you recognize that and recognize how unlimited you are, and recognize that a lot of the value of life is not in the result, it's in the journey and the process that we go to get there, I think that will help you let go of a lot of stress that you may be holding on to yourself and let go of the pressure that you may be putting on yourself. So pile 3, that is where I'm going to leave your reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for what I do if you would like to. You can do that in other ways by getting the extended linked below. You can do it by liking this video. That is free and it helps me so much. You can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also check out my social media, though do be aware of tons of scammers pretending to be me. So just know I do not offer personal readings, and I will not slide in your DMs offering you asking to consider you for a reading. And I have merch, but that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for being here. I really hope this reading resonated. I hope you will have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 4. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Serpentine heart and the Way of the Panda Tarot, this is going to be a reading on who is coming into your life in a romantic way. So I did quickly just want to say that if this person sounds like you could be getting the pile that is about you. That's probably the most likely explanation, but it is possible that you could be attracting someone very similar to you in your life as well. But just do be aware that if you don't like the energy or something like that, you can pick another pile. But also know that if you feel like this is something coming into your life, but you may not know why, we are going to look at why you're being drawn to them. So that might help give you a better idea of what maybe needs to shift if this is not the type of person you want to come into your life. So just to go ahead and start, we have the Seed, we have the Mask, we have the Bee, and we have Door to Personal Healing and Happiness. So I'm gonna be honest, if you guys don't like this type of energy, I'm gonna be really surprised because it sounds like it's good for you. But anyway, let's just go ahead and, oh, and also I don't make any promises in terms of if this is a new person or not. It will just depend based on how you know them. But for a lot of you, this does seem like a new person. And if not a new person, someone that you haven't created anything with yet. So like, I wouldn't see this being an ex, but it could be someone you had a false start with. I would say the most likely factor here with this pile is that this person is either someone you know already that you've never been in a like committed romantic connection with, or someone that you have not met yet but you could have been manifesting, or someone to have a new fresh start with is the vibe that I'm getting here. And I really like this person's energy. I definitely think that they are someone who is very balanced. The first thing that I'm called to is the 34 being here, which to me makes me think of the Empress and the Emperor. So I do feel like this person has been spending a lot of time on their own, working on their own healing and happiness. This could be something that maybe you both are working on and that's why you're aligning. But I do think that this person has been spending a lot of time on their own, just trying to become the best version of themselves. However, with this Bee card here, I definitely do think that this is someone who throws themselves into their work. I do think that they're quite busy, and I would definitely say their love language is acts of service. I could definitely see their Venus being something like Virgo, or I feel like a water or earth Venus would make sense for this person. Could be like Pisces or Cancer or Capricorn or Taurus. Those are the earth signs. But anyway, I definitely think that this is someone who, I just heard Dua Lipa in my head, like the part of Don't Start Now where she's like did a full 180, where this person has definitely grown and evolved a lot. Whether you know them or not, I do think that this is somebody who you are going to bond with over your healing journeys and the fact that it hasn't been easy. I do think that this person is incredibly humble and they don't recognize the impact that their presence has in the lives of people around them. I also think that they're very hesitant to give themselves to someone. I feel like they have learned a lot about cultivating just peace for themselves and good energy for themselves. And so now I think that they're very hesitant around who they give their time and energy to. But one thing that I will say is that there's someone who likes to keep themselves busy. They might have a lot of different hobbies, or they could be quite active. I just feel like this is someone who's very vibrant and joyful in their natural state, even if they're going through inner struggles, I feel like they like to look at things on the brighter side, or they like to spend their time and energy doing things that bring them joy. And for a lot of you, I feel like this person's job could bring them a lot of joy, whether it is something that they studied really hard for and now they're in the position that they want, or maybe they've created their own sort of job for themselves, or some sort of role for themselves in life. I feel like there's someone who's very happy to be busy, someone who maybe at times struggles to not be productive, but I feel like this person has learned how to balance themselves in a way where they recognize that like being overproductive or overworked can actually make them less productive. I feel like this is someone who's just having a brand new beginning. And for a lot of you, I feel like this could be the person that you've been trying to manifest in your life, whether it be a new person or someone that you never got to have an opportunity with. Now with the mask here, I feel like this person is someone who's very uncomfortable showing their needs. I also feel like this is someone who gives off the vibe that they don't need anyone, and that they're very much happy on their own. And I don't think that's wrong. Like, I do think that this is someone who is quite happy and content on their own, but I do feel like there is a part of them that has been wanting to share themselves with someone. They just want to make sure it's not someone who's going to take advantage of them, take advantage of their kindness, or for example, their love language. I feel like maybe in the past they fell prey to people who kind of manipulated their emotions a lot and manipulated them in order to giving more than they had. And it just would leave them feeling very drained and very bitter and very cynical about life in general. And I think now they're at this point where they feel really good, but at the same time they're definitely guarded, where they don't want to just give their heart or bare their soul to anyone. I feel like it takes quite a bit of time to kind of reach their layers. Not to go all Shrek here, but this person is definitely like an onion. They do have a lot of layers. And I feel like one of the biggest green flags for them is someone who also is working on their own healing, someone who also is very self-aware and very honest about who they are. I do think the one challenge that this person has is being vulnerable about what their needs are. I do think that they love fulfilling other people's needs, but they have a hard time saying like, hey, I need this or I need that. I definitely think that is going to be their biggest challenge. But I also think that this person has more than they let on. I feel like this person might give off a vibe that they are not struggling to get by, but they have a very humble appearance or a very like humble personality, but there's so much more underneath the surface. And I feel like that's probably one thing that's going to draw you in to them. One thing that I'm noticing as well is that they could have double letters in their name, because I see B and seed, and with mask and seed they could have a 4-letter name. I also think they could be air signs. So with the B here we have Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra, so they could have like an air rising, for example, or maybe an air sun. But I definitely think that they are somebody who's ready to have a fresh start and a fresh beginning with someone, because they feel like they're finally in a place where they can start to grow. I do feel like this is someone who maybe for a long time kind of drifted and wandered through life, or just kind of kept themselves busy and didn't really think about what they truly wanted on the inside and what was truly nourishing to them. And now that they've been on this journey of healing and trying to find their own happiness, they want to share that with someone else as well. But I definitely think they're going to be someone who reveals themselves in layers. They're not just going to be like, hey, pile 4, I am your person, and let me bare my heart and soul just right here, right now. I feel like they're going to play things very cool. Actually, one way to tell that it's this person and that they're interested in you is they might be very like jolly and charismatic and charming around other people, but when they talk to you, they get kind of like quiet and kind of hesitant and unsure of themselves. And you might be like, does this person not like me? But I think it's actually they do like you, and they might be a little intimidated by your energy, or just feel very nervous around you. I also think that this is someone who's been working a lot on their self-esteem. And I think maybe one thing that they have a challenge doing is tapping into their heart space and recognizing what their heart space wants. They're very good at seeing like logical ways of doing things and what makes the most sense logically, like actions that they should take that makes the most sense logically. And I think that's maybe one reason why they have struggled when it comes to opening themselves up in love, because they haven't made decisions from a loving place. They've made decisions from a logical place, from a place of what's going to entertain them, what's going to just keep them busy. I almost feel like they ran from themselves or didn't kind of pay attention to their inner world for a long time, and they have been on this journey of just kind of recognizing their own innate value and the worth that they have on the inside. And as a result, they're realizing that they're so much more than they thought that they were. And I also think that because they have been doing all of this healing, they're recognizing that they're not actually I'm hearing the words fuck up, or a person destined to just stay hidden, stay in the shadows. I think they're realizing that they're not more than human. I think they're finally having compassion for their own humanity and recognizing that their sense of self-worth cannot come from a place of just martyring themselves to help other people, because that's not what is going to make them feel worthy. It might make their ego feel worthy, but it's not very nourishing for their heart space. And I think one of the biggest things that they've realized is that they have to be more willing to listen to what their heart is telling them, and also have compassion for their own humanity and recognize that their physicality has limitations. Their ability to give to others needs to have limitations, and boundaries are incredibly important. I also think this person as well is someone who is very good at holding themselves back. Like I feel like they're very restrained, but at times when they've been really stressed out or really overworked, they may have like lashed out at people that were really just pushing them to the edge. And I feel like that element of them is something that they may carry a lot of shame around, and it may also be something I hate this, but I literally just heard in my head, "This is the skin of a killer, Bella," which is just a Twilight quote. So I don't know if Twilight has some funny synchronicities, but I do feel like this person is really cautious of not hurting others, because like when they get into this place where they're very burnt out and very frustrated, they can accidentally lash out at people when they're not necessarily trying to. So I almost feel like part of their protective boundaries are like, in their mind, trying to keep others safe from them. But I feel like what the universe is trying to get them to understand is that they only reach that state when they allow themselves to be drained to a point where they can't think clearly, they're not nourished well enough, like they only sting others when they are feeling trapped and attacked and they don't see another way out. And I feel like this person is recognizing that they could have avoided a lot of their problems if they just were more clear about their boundaries and recognized what their boundaries actually were. Like, I feel like one of this person's biggest problems is just saying yes to everything, even if they don't actually want to, because they want to be helpful and their ego likes feeling helpful. And as a result, I think that they really neglected their internal world. And that is something that they are learning how to let go of. I think that they have opened these doors to healing, and while they're certainly not like the pinnacle of healing and perfection, even though they would like to think that they are, they have really grown and improved a lot. And I think as well that if you've been on your own healing journey, that's something you and this person are going to bond over. And I also think that there may be some triggering aspects to this connection where like you may, like I'm seeing the image of the meme of Spider-Man pointing at himself. Like there's two Spider-Mans, they're both pointing at each other. I feel like you both might see a lot in one another that the other doesn't, and then you might feel kind of defensive, or they might feel kind of defensive. But I feel like at the end of the day, there's a lot of love and compassion here. So even if one or both of you is like annoyed, I don't even think it would like end up in an argument or anything like that. I feel like this person is more of a debater than an arguer, if that makes sense. But I feel like they would just say, I feel like both of you be like, "Oh, you're right. Like, I didn't want to admit that to myself, but I'm grateful you showed that to me." I also feel like this person is willing to give a lot more than they show. And I think that's just because they are cautious and hesitant about not giving their time and energy to people who are just going to take advantage of them. Their mind is very busy, and I wouldn't be shocked if they read a lot of books, or they almost have like their own library or a stack of unread books that they just plan on getting to at some point. I really do feel like this person, they're pretty complex, and it's funny because they appear very simple on the surface, but there's really so much going on underneath. And I think because their mind is so busy at times, they may miss out on the wisdom and the value that like their inner space and their heart space is trying to tell them. But I think that they are learning to cultivate space for that, and they're recognizing that while the outside world is incredibly interesting, like you can get lost in it if you don't have a deeper meaning to attach things to. So I feel like that's kind of one thing that they have been doing, and I think that they have finally been opening doors that maybe they were afraid to open, or stepping into new ways of living that they thought weren't possible for themselves, that they realize now were just limiting beliefs. Overall, I feel like this is someone who's very creative, and their way of creativity may not be like art or something like that. Like I just heard carpentry, so like for some of you, this person could be really into carpentry or like construction. For others, I feel like this creativity could be in a business type of space or something like that, no matter what. But it could be like artistic creativity too as well. I just feel like this person does like to create. I feel like they like to be busy because they don't really like to be alone with their thoughts. But I think that they're learning that they have power over their thoughts, and that the more they heal and the more they find peace within, the easier it is to take action in the material world that actually aligns with who they are, that doesn't drain them and make them feel more lost. But overall, I definitely feel like this person is recognizing too that they don't need to put up a persona or a facade of who they are, because who they naturally are is really wonderful. And I think that you are really going to like this person more and more as you get to know them, because I think that you might, like, when you first meet them, kind of not be into them because they are showing a side of them that's not accurate to them. And I think the more they get comfortable around you and the more they open up, you'll see why this person is in your life, because you'll actually get along really well. And I think you'll really like who this person truly is. You may not like the personas that they have to keep them safe, but when they slowly reveal those layers, you're gonna realize like, oh yeah, this person is really wonderful. And I'm really glad that I or speaking from your case, you're gonna be really glad that you met them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the tarot now. And while I'm shuffling, I just quickly wanted to mention that if this reading is resonating and you would like more, there is an extended reading down below where we are going to be looking at why this person is drawn to you / attracted to you. We're also going to be seeing what their intentions towards you and the connection are. We are also going to be seeing, we're going to be getting channeled messages from their 3D self and from their higher self to just kind of see how those line up. And I found that the 3D messages are very helpful in seeing kind of where they're at right now, since whether you know this person or not, it might be a little bit till you meet them, or timing is different for everyone and it changes constantly. But we're also going to get charms, letters, and numbers as well to see if there's any synchronicities, any timing that you may want to be aware of, any signs, stuff like that, to kind of help you on this journey along. So that'll be linked down below if you're interested, but no pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and see now why you and this person are aligning, why this is the person coming in next for you. So I love this. So we have this 8 of Cups, and I think that this is so beautiful. The reason why you and this person are aligning is because you're finally walking away from the things that don't serve you. And not only that, with all of these butterflies here, first of all, I do think that there's gonna be like, you might have butterflies around this person. I also just heard this song, Sparks Will Fly. It's I feel like it's a rap song. It's not the Taylor Swift song, sorry Swifties, Sparks Fly, but it's a different one. Like, I feel like it's a rap song, and then just at some point this girl says like sparks will fly. I don't know, I can't remember the song. If you can, you can link that down below. But if you want to take the Swiftie song, Swifties, you can take that too. But I definitely think that this 8 of Cups is a lot about both of you are recognizing what doesn't serve you anymore, and you're walking away from a lack mentality. I think that's one of the biggest things, is like maybe you and this person both settled for things that didn't actually make you happy in the past. And I don't just mean like relationships. I mean like subpar friendships, subpar jobs, subpar experiences that didn't really make you happy. Like maybe you just kind of went along with what other people wanted to do. Like, and it didn't really make you happy, but you're like, well, I don't really know what else there is to do, or I don't know what else I would do. And I feel like you both have been growing and evolving a lot and recognizing that you don't have to accept things that don't fulfill you. I almost feel like too, if you've already been in this process of clearing things out that don't serve you, like maybe past relationships or situationships that didn't serve you, people that kind of led you on, or people that made you feel like you had to prove yourself or prove your worth to them, like you're like kicking that shit to the curb and you're like, goodbye. Like, I do not need any of that energy in my life. And I feel like both of you are walking away from what doesn't serve you right into one another. And I think what's so beautiful is that you may have been wondering for a long time, like, why you weren't meeting the right person, or the person that you were really truly wanting to meet. And I feel like the universe was like, well, you had to realize first that the person that you, like, the next step in your journey was not within these 8 cups that weren't fulfilling you already. I feel like it was kind of up to the both of you to recognize that if something isn't working for you, if something doesn't make you happy, you can walk away from it. Like, the universe will always replace something when we make room for it. If we let go of something that doesn't serve us and are open to what the universe can bring our way, that is an excellent example of how an abundance mentality works. Saying, you know, I know that something that is not serving me, that is not fulfilling me, is not truly meant for me, because it's not lighting me up, it's not making me feel good. So I trust that if I discard this or let go of this, then the universe will bring something much better in its place. And sometimes it takes a little bit for that to be ready. But I think one thing that you may have realized, especially with all of these like little tiny mountains here, is that I feel like other people may have been making their problems your own. And you may have really like put that stress on yourself, like, oh, it's almost like other people's molehills were turned into your mountains, and like they became issues that stacked on top of your own issues. And I think what you're realizing now is like, oh, those were never my problems to begin with. And I think part of your growth and transformation has been learning to release what doesn't serve you, and same with this person. I feel like if you are walking away from things, or you are clearing areas of your life out, this is a good sign that this person or this manifestation could be right around the corner. I feel called to say manifestation for a lot of you. So I feel like if you have been manifesting this type of person into your life, then I think that this is a good sign. Like, if you're feeling like, okay, I can let go of this, or I can, you know, clear out the clutter in my house, or I can let go of these habits that aren't serving me anymore. Like, I feel like that's a good sign the universe is getting you into alignment for this manifestation, and you should really pat yourself on the back for that. I just cracked my neck, and I don't know why that's significant, but I don't know, it felt really good. So I don't know, maybe some of you are like, maybe you've been feeling under pressure lately, like the exact things that you've wanted to avoid are coming to the surface to be dealt with, and it might be painful, it might be overwhelming, it might be frustrating, but it's almost like that's how the tension is being released. Like, you know how if you have like a knot in your back, for example, like it might hurt to get it dealt with, but it's like that pressure then is what soothes it and releases it. It's like everything that's not serving you is coming up to be released to what will serve it and what will serve you. And I feel like if you are just letting things fly away and be like, yeah, goodbye, have a good one, I think that this person is too, and you guys are aligning in a very beautiful, beautiful way. I'm trying to see what's on this panda's head, but I can't really tell. I don't know if you guys can, but I almost wonder if that's like, it doesn't look like a ribbon or something like that. I honestly have no idea what's on its head, but I do think that maybe there could have been blockages in your crown chakra or in your third eye chakra, like keeping you stuck in fear-like cycles where you're unsure of if, like, I think that there were cycles that kept you afraid of letting go of what wasn't serving you out of fear that you would just have less and like you wouldn't have anything. But I think what the universe is getting you to realize is, nope, this is exactly what you needed to let go of in order to be ready for what's to come. So if there are things that you know you need to walk away from, or things that you know that aren't serving you, definitely do what you need to do around that, because it's bringing you closer to this situation. And I definitely think there's lots of mini transformations for the both of you through this process, and it's helping you both be like the ultimate new versions of yourselves, where you're like not holding on to any past baggage, at least not in significant ways that hold you back. Like, sure, things from the past can come up, but I feel like you both are developing tools to deal with those sorts of energies, so that they're not something that makes you run from what's meant for you in fear, makes you run away from what you know isn't serving you. So next, I want to see how you can show yourself love right now while you're waiting for this manifestation to come in. So how can pile 2 show themselves love right now? Of course, we have the ass eating card. It always comes out. I mean, I know he's not literally eating ass, but it looks like it, and it's just so funny to me. But we have the Hanged Panda. I'm sorry my brain is like this, but at the same time, no, I'm not. Anyway, I definitely think that Spirit is really just asking you to surrender to what is and not stress yourself out so much. I'm really called to all of these little fireflies. I've never really noticed them in this card before, I think because my disgusting mind has been focused on other things. But I really do think that you get these bursts of like great ideas, and they fall away just as quickly as they come, and you might beat yourself up for that and be like, oh, I should have taken action towards that, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. And I feel like you really need to let go of that mentality, because like if a spark of inspiration or an idea comes to you, if it's meant to stay, it'll come back to you again. Like, I feel like the universe wants you to worry less about making sure you don't miss any guidance, because the right guidance is always going to be there for you. And I feel like guidance a lot of times isn't necessarily very overt for you, but I do feel like you miss guidance just being stuck in your head too much and thinking about the what ifs and worrying and stressing about the fact that because you can't see what's at the end of this journey, or like you're stressing, you know, because you can't see it. Spirit's kind of bringing up an analogy that I got once when I was driving. It was like at nighttime, and it was really, really foggy. And it just gave me a lot of anxiety because, you know, when you're driving at night and it's foggy, you know, there could be animals that like you can't necessarily see. And it just made me really nervous because I couldn't really see far ahead of me. And then I had a voice kind of come into my head and say, okay, you've driven these roads a million times. You don't need to know what's 500 feet ahead of you. You just need to know what's 50 feet ahead of you. Make sure you're in between the lines, because that's important. And just keep your eyes focused on what's in front of you. You will get through this fog. This fog will disperse, but don't let fear get the best of you. Just stay focused and keep focusing on what's right ahead of you, and you'll be just fine. And that was the truth. And I could have made that situation like 20 times worse for myself by being like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's so foggy. Like, and just like freak out, and which would make me focus less on the road. It would make me overwhelmed, and my senses would be focused on things I should not be focusing on when I'm operating a giant hunk of metal. And I feel like the universe is kind of saying, you know, kind of the best thing you can do right now, instead of resisting these shifts, is to surrender to what is and not allow your mind to run away from you with trying to understand what's happening, and instead just being like, okay, like, no, I'm not, I am saying that. That's fucking hilarious. I just heard something say, when life gives you asses, eat them. I'm not sorry. Which I guess is, I don't know whose guide suggested that. It very well could have been mine, but I feel like life is kind of telling you to not like literally eat ass, if that, I mean, I guess unless that's something that you want to do and it's in front of you. But I mean, like, it's kind of like when life gives you lemons, you know, but just less appropriate. I see why people say the lemon one, but I feel like the universe is trying to get you to stop focusing on what's 500 feet ahead of you, because you can't see it anyway. It's too cloudy, it's too foggy, and to focus on what's directly in front of you. And in terms of like staying in the lines, you know, just staying focused on what's important. I feel like there are tons of opportunities within your present reality to kind of feel more in control. Like, for example, if you've been putting off like organizing certain aspects of your home, or been putting off like clearing out like your junk drawers, or even just like clearing out your contacts, or clearing out things that have just been kind of stressing you out, like maybe even booking like an energetic clearing, for example, could be something useful to you. I feel like the universe is saying that there's tons of opportunities to help yourself keep moving forward without getting overwhelmed by how much there is to do. Because I feel like the truth is that there's not a whole lot for you to actually do. That's like, I feel like you're overestimating how much you actually need to do, or how much there is to do. And I feel like you're almost overwhelming yourself by conflating what it is that you need to do. I feel like just taking opportunities as they come, like opportunities, for example, to take action that will make you feel more free. So like, for example, if you're really stuck in your head, you know, maybe that's an opportunity to go for a walk, or talk to a trusted friend or family member or counselor that can help you talk through those situations. Or if you have the opportunity to clear something out, for example, you know, just making it fun and like putting some of your favorite music on in the background, or a podcast or a show you enjoy. I feel like the universe is trying to get you to understand that the process of changing is not something that's meant to be grueling, and it might be uncomfortable, it might be different, but I feel like the universe is already making shifts and changes in your external reality, and I feel like your logical mind might be holding on really tightly to what was, and it's making this process harder. And I feel like if you are using like the idea of a romantic partner or someone that you really want in your life as a form of escapism, the universe is saying this is not something you need to fantasize about in terms of escaping. We're giving you the tools in your reality to get you lined up with that. And the more you kind of resist this, the longer it is going to take for you to get to that point where you and this person are meeting or reuniting, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like this is a lot about surrendering, which perfect, this candle is all about surrender. And Archangel Zadkiel is the angel that you may want to talk to or pray to if you need help surrendering. But surrendering also is just letting go of what you can't control, letting go of what isn't your job to control, and instead surrendering to what you can do in the present to make things easier on yourself, to make things, to honestly, to just accept how things are and trust that things can get better, and that when you co-create with the universe and when you are open to solutions to making yourself feel better, to making an impact in your direct environment, to make things flow freer and just feel easier, and just trust in the process instead of trying to be 12 steps ahead, just focus on taking that first step in front of you. And before you know it, the more you focus on that, you'll have taken those 12 steps and be like, wow, that was easier than I thought. Like, that didn't take as long as I thought it would. I feel like the only reason you think you're stuck is because you think you're stuck. I think the less you think that way, and instead just be open to, okay, I am in this situation right now. What is this situation trying to show me? Yes, I might be frustrated I'm in this situation. Yes, I might be afraid, but what can I do to make myself feel better? What can I do in my immediate environment to bring myself more peace? Even if it's just like taking a bath and lighting a candle, or watching a movie that makes your heart really happy. I think this is just a lot about letting go of the mental need to feel like you know exactly where you're going, and just start flowing with what's happening, because you have a lot of guidance around you. I mean, we have fireflies and butterflies, and I feel like if you see butterflies or fireflies, that could be a sign of like your guides around you, or just the sign that you're on the right path. I really do feel like you're on the right path anyway. It's just you might resist things and kind of like stop and second guess yourself, and then kind of get overwhelmed, and that overwhelmed energy can kind of make you exhausted and feel like you can't take action, or you're too tired to take action. And I feel like the universe is saying pay attention to where your mental energy is going, and if you need help in working with your mental body to support you rather than drain you, definitely seek out help for that. Like, there's no shame in that. But honestly, one of the best things that you can do is that when you get fearful thoughts or draining thoughts, you know, just let them flow through you and recognize that they're not you. They are just a part of you. Well, not a part of you, but they're just, first of all, like, intrusive thoughts are just like a human thing that happen, and you don't have to entertain them. And I feel like the more you just encourage yourself and are kind to yourself, and instead of trying to live in the past or the future, look at what's happening right now and just be present with what is, you'll realize it's actually not as challenging as you thought it is to work with what's directly in front of you. So I want to finish this part off before we get into advice by looking at an illusion around love that you need to let go of. So for pile 4, what is an illusion around love that they need to let go of, Spirit? We have the 6 of Cups. I feel like this is a lot about recognizing that just because you experience something in your past doesn't mean it's in your future. I also think that the 6 of Cups has a lot to do with reunions in this case. Like, for example, if I mentioned, because I didn't mention that this could be someone maybe that you already know, but maybe you've never really been in a connection before, and you're like, oh, I don't even know how that would happen. Like, if you're trying to strategize how this is going to work, I think that you are overthinking it. With the 6 of Cups, I also feel like as well, maybe how you view your childhood, or like, if, for example, if you had parents that maybe had a really turbulent relationship, or you didn't have a good example of what a healthy relationship looked like when you were younger, you may be under the belief that you can't have healthy love, or that healthy love doesn't exist for you, which, you know, first of all, showing healthy love to ourselves is a great way to learn about what it actually looks like, so that we don't accept behaviors that are harmful or abusive disguised as love. But also, I think that if you had an idea of what your love life was supposed to be when you were a child, I don't think you necessarily need to let go of that if it's positive and it lights your heart up. I feel like maybe you had, maybe sometimes you kind of dismiss your heart space, or dismiss what your inner child is trying to tell you, because you think that you're in the real world now, and adults, like, things don't happen like this in the adult world. And I feel like your inner child is trying to get you to understand that that's not the case. Like, we just live in a world of a lot of people that are jaded, but the fact of the matter is you have no idea what kind of magic is just waiting for you around the corner, what kind of magic exists in your present reality. I feel like if you're trying to figure out how this is all going to come together, your inner child is saying stop. Like, you're wasting your time and energy trying to focus on that. And I also think with this cat being here, you may not be trusting your intuition. And if your intuition is telling you something that scares you, like to the point where if it's telling you something that scares you, it's probably not your intuition, it's probably your anxiety. Because anxiety screams, intuition whispers. And oftentimes our intuition tells us things that bring us peace, that bring us calm, that feel right. And you might be not trusting that because you don't see how it can manifest, or you're not sure that that's even something real or true. And I feel like the illusion that you need to let go of is that your intuition is wrong, that that true, fulfilling, nurturing love can't happen, because it absolutely can. And I think that one thing that you and the person coming into your life are going to bond over is a connection between your inner children. I feel like you might believe that your intuition is, like, you might feel like you can't trust your intuition, but just for a second, reflect on all the times in your life when your intuition has told you, don't get involved with that person, or don't do that thing. And you said, well, I don't have enough evidence for it, so I'm going to do it anyway. And so then you did it anyway, and you got the exact evidence that confirmed what you thought intuitively. I feel like the more you trust the fact that your intuition always has your back, and you can trust what your intuition is telling you, you can navigate towards situations that are going to align with your heart, and navigate away from situations that don't necessarily feel right, but just because you don't have enough evidence, you're going to go after them anyway. I feel like you can really trust yourself to follow what feels right to you, and to trust what your heart space is telling you, even if it doesn't make sense. Because here's the thing, like, we have so many egoic rules around love, and love isn't ego. And love also comes in so many different forms, and miracles happen every single day. And I feel like your inner child just really doesn't want you to let go of that sense of magic and that sense of wonder that genuinely exists in the world. Like, we believe it doesn't exist because we see like Harry Potter and we're like, oh no, magic isn't real unless it comes out of a wand and we get a letter when we're 11 saying that we're a wizard. Like, no, like, magic is subtle, and magic exists in our everyday life experiences. Like, it exists when you find that parking spot when the entire lot looked full. It exists when you get an extra tip or an extra $50 in the bank and you have no clue where it came from, but it's exactly what you needed in order to finish paying this bill. It's those little synchronicities where you get a song that feels like it's speaking to you. It's when you see those synchronicities everywhere and it feels like the universe is talking to you, because it is. Like, we have these ideas that our guides are supposed to just fly down from the heavens and be like, hey, pile 4, you should do this, 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 and that. That's not really gonna happen. The universe speaks to us through the universe. So, like, yeah, synchronicities are guidance for you. It's confirmation that you're on the right path. And a synchronicity doesn't have to be a synchronicity if you don't count it. A synchronicity is only a synchronicity if you feel like it's a synchronicity. And what it means may necessarily be nothing other than you're on the right path and the universe is listening to you. I just noticed the bottom of the deck and it's the Knight of Cups. And this is all about taking action from a place of love, from a place of emotional fulfillment. And I feel like the universe is saying that you might have this illusion that you have to work for love, or that it has to be hard, or it has to be challenging. And maybe the illusion that you're letting go of is the idea that you have to settle for something less. That is that lack mentality, that you're not going to find the perfect thing. And sure, nothing is perfect, but you may be pushing away what could be perfect for you, the experiences that could be perfect for you, because you're afraid that you won't find them. The universe knows you more intimately than you know yourself. And ultimately, it knows exactly what could fulfill you and what could be the experience that you just could never dream of, but fulfills you beyond your wildest imaginings. And look at that, there's another butterfly here. I feel like the universe is saying, trust us to guide you, trust us to move you forward. We speak to you through your intuition. We speak to you through that tiny, quiet voice that brings you peace, that brings you clarity. And if your mind is too loud, you're not going to be able to hear it. If you are doubting and trying to logically explain away the signs that you get, you are just literally gaslighting yourself and to not trusting your heart. And there's a lot that exists in the world that will try to convince us that our intuition isn't accurate, or that life is just doom and gloom and that nothing good ever happens to people. But that's not the case. Like, that in of itself is an illusion. And I'm not saying that hard, difficult, challenging things don't happen, because they absolutely do. I'm not saying that life isn't challenging and that suffering doesn't exist, because it absolutely does. But that doesn't mean that you are subject to that suffering for the rest of your life forever. You know, suffering is one thing that exists no matter what. But wouldn't you rather have someone by your side who will be there for you through your challenging times, who will be there to encourage you through your challenging times, and especially for yourself? You know, you might look at yourself and think, oh, I don't deserve love because of what I did in the past, or I don't deserve love because I don't trust myself. And I feel like one thing that you need to let go of is that idea that you are inherently unlovable, or that you're not worthy of love. Like, I would honestly recommend you get a picture of yourself as a child and remember, like, look at yourself through your adult eyes at that child. That child was deserving of love. You know what I mean? And I'm hearing like that phrase in my head that says like, every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. And I'm not saying anything about your parents, but what I am saying is that children are often, you know, treated unfairly just because they are children. And I feel like you may have made assumptions or formed beliefs about yourself based upon the treatment you got growing up, whether it was from teachers, coaches, friends, parents, family, whoever it was. And I feel like it's just not true. If it doesn't uplift you, if it doesn't feel good to you, it doesn't have to be your truth. And I feel like the universe is saying part of this journey of personal healing and happiness is recognizing that life has ups and downs. We go through challenging things, but we don't have to make it harder on ourselves by shaming ourselves for those challenges, by believing that there is this form of life that exists where there is only joy and no suffering, because joy and I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is that life is life, and life is always going to happen, but it is up to us how we deal with life and how we approach life. And I feel like if you have this negative viewpoint of yourself that like you can't be loved, or it's impossible for you to be loved, or that this person isn't going to come into your life, or it just seems too hard, or it's just not going to happen, I feel like those are illusions your mind is telling you. And I really think the biggest thing that you need right now is kindness and love to yourself. And I actually just made an inner child healing video. You might want to go check that out if you haven't, because it could really help you in terms of figuring out maybe what within you is making you feel like you're not worthy, or making you feel like things won't come together for you, things won't come true for you. Like, I feel like one thing as well is that we have to be open to different possibilities and different ways of the universe bringing something to us or guiding us to the right place. I feel like the more you follow what your heart is telling you, what the signs are telling you, what your intuition is telling you, the less scary this whole journey will be, and the easier it will be to follow the signs, because you're not going to waste your time and energy, talking them down or buying into this illusion that the universe doesn't actually care about you and that it doesn't want you to feel loved and be loved, because that's just not true. You are deserving of love. You are always deserving of love, and you were always deserving of love. The only illusion that you need to let go of is the idea that you're not worthy of it, or that it won't find you, or won't come to you, or it won't align in the most perfect way possible. It absolutely will. So if there are things that don't make you feel loved, especially in your immediate life, that you can let go of, or can change, or can set boundaries with, do that, because that's going to make more space for more loving experiences to come into your life. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to your advice now. I actually want to keep this Nine of Cups here, because I feel like he's just really got it. Okay, so to start, we have, I forgive myself for judging the experience of emotions I would rather not be mine. I choose to believe that when I honor each and every one of my emotional expressions, I discover a deeper wisdom not accessible through reason alone. So I definitely think, like, if you feel deep emotions, if you feel a deep desire for love, and you talk yourself down and you're like, no, that's stupid, like, I don't need that, like, I'm tough, like, I actually think it's low-key kind of weak to ignore your emotions and pretend like they don't exist. Like, accessing your emotions and honoring them is like one of the strongest things that you can do. And we need our emotions. They are data. Like, they give us the necessary information we need to know whether something is serving us or not. So for example, if you're around someone and they make you feel like shit all the time, they make you feel less than worthy, they make you feel insecure, that is excellent data that person or experience is probably not aligned with you. But if you have experiences where your heart lights up, like for example, when you're painting, or when you're around a friend and you feel lighter and you feel understood, that's a sign. That's data telling you that this is probably a person or situation aligned with a more loving experience for you. So you should keep doing that, or keep having more of that in your life. Like, there are so many ways that our body, our emotions talk to us. And if you're only getting your information from your mind, you are going to miss out on a wealth of information that could help bring you to a state of peace much more quickly, especially like your body. Your body has so much wisdom for you, and can really, like, if you feel weird around a person and you don't know why, if you listen to your mind that's like, well, we don't have enough data to know whether this person is safe or not, that's exactly how you get yourself into situations you'd rather not be in. Like, if you listen to your body and said, okay, I don't understand why I feel this way around this person, but maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just going to be cautious and set boundaries here, because I would rather honor myself and trust myself first than put what I'm feeling under the bus. Especially if when you were a child, maybe you did have feelings or experiences where people invalidated what you were thinking or feeling, and as a result, maybe you got into situations that, or maybe you were put in situations that you didn't want to be in, and maybe there's a sense of betrayal there, or a sense of frustration there, or a feeling like you can't trust yourself. But I feel like the universe is saying you can trust yourself. And now that you're an adult, which you should be an adult if you're watching this, you can honor yourself and honor what you're feeling. You can be that adult that does not put your inner child and yourself in situations that make you feel uncomfortable. You have the power to say no. You have the power of choice. And the power of choice is one of the biggest powers that we have. And it is often those small choices that can bring us closer and closer and closer to ourselves and make us realize what we do have control over and what we don't have control over, so that when we recognize that there's something outside of our control that maybe we don't like or wish was different, we can use the power of choice to make choices that support us and soothe us and nurture ourselves when life may be frustrating, when we are having a hard time. So I really do feel like whatever you need to do is whatever feels right for you. But I feel like one thing that maybe would be really helpful for you is to really hear your inner child out and be there for it, and recognize that you can be its best advocate now that you are an adult, and you can stand up for yourself and you can say, no, you're not under the thumb or control of someone else. Anyway, we also have find a gentle touch and ease in all that you do at the moment. Allowing things to flow naturally will get you closer to your desires than trying to force something. Less resistance equals greater output. Yeah, so this is kind of exactly what I was trying to say, just more eloquently worded. This also gives me like Divine Mother vibes, so like Mother Mary, things like that. So if there's any emanation of the Divine Mother and the Divine Mother herself that you would like to access, definitely just pray for her love, for her guidance. Like, we all need, even when we're adults, we still need nurturing. We still need to know that we're held and safe, and the Divine Mother can be an excellent way of getting access to that. But this is also that example of sometimes the best thing to do is just nothing. Sometimes when we don't know what to do, instead of stressing out and trying to find the solution, we just do something that we enjoy in the meantime, or just rest. I feel like this is a lot about trusting yourself and trusting the little nudges that you get, and not, I just keep hearing like, don't gaslight yourself. Don't invalidate what you're doing and experiencing. Stand up to your mind when it starts belittling you, because it's just conditioning. It's just conditioning to what you've been conditioned to, and you can decondition that. It might be challenging. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it goes away in the blink of an eye, but you don't have to accept the mean things you tell yourself as truth. Anyway, we also have independence with the solar plexus chakra, and the trigger statement is, I am just like my, quote, mother and father. The true statement is, I am free to choose. What did I say about the power of choice? You are ready to break free of the conditioning that has bound you, so that you may continue your journey of healing and growth. Yes, this is your next step, and this is exactly how you gain independence from these ideas that you are just like something. You are free to choose, and the awareness is the first step to changing it. We also have I am enough. I am beautiful just as I am. I am loved just as I am. I am worthy by being me. I don't need to fit in. I just need to be myself, and the right people will come into my life. Those who see and appreciate me for all that I am. Exactly. Like this, if you are wasting your time around subpar people that make you, well, I don't want to call them subpar, but people that make you feel subpar and feel like that you're not enough the way that you are, you feel like you have to behave a certain way in order to fit in, those are not your people, like, period. And you are not going to miss out by letting go of them, I promise you. This is a lot about trusting yourself and trusting your own inner guidance to lead you to the right places. You'll be led exactly where you need to go. Like I said, if you are overthinking it, that is like your biggest hindrance. But we also have surrender defensiveness. Defensiveness is a sign of weakness. To communicate in a more empowered way, stay centered, hear someone out, then offer a clear, non-defensive response. But we also have surrender addictions. Whether you're addicted to substances, food, people, sex, or overworking, take action to begin to heal the addiction and replace it with healthier alternatives. So pile 4, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. I'm going to head over to the extended now if you want to join me there. Thank you to everyone who does, because that is a great way to support me and show appreciation for what I do. But other ways to do that would be to let my ads play in the background while you do something else. Thank you to everyone who does that. You can like this video, which is incredibly helpful, and comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. Subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also check out my social media, though do be aware there are tons of scammers that pretend to be me, so just know I do not offer personal readings, and I will not slide in your DMs offering you a reading. If someone does that, that's not me. I can barely text my friends back, and I also have merch, but that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!